All right. It'll be about a minute. People can hear us, but they can't see us. So, as usual, watch your fucking mouth.
Us? Don't know what you're talking about. We're a bunch of angels.
Nothing but good guys here.
No angels play Cyberpunk. That's ridiculous.
Listen, brother, we just don't have our wings yet.
I have an Azamar NPC in my game, just saying.
Cyberpunk Uncensored.
It would help if I knew how to spell uncensored.
Hey, we're live. Everybody can see you. GM Reservoir Panda, you can take it from here.
Thank you very much, Rob. Hey, everybody. Thanks for coming to watch our little stream here on the Cyberpunk Uncensored feed. So, you know the drill. You like what we do, you like what Rob does with all his tutorials and so on, then like, subscribe, favorite things, share it with other people that will find it interesting and useful, do all that good stuff. So we've also got, I should give a shout out to the various sponsors of Cyberpunk Uncensored. So we've got Eldwood Academy, Roll20, Sirenscape, Level Up Dice, Lion Banner. Am I missing anybody? I probably am. My brain doesn't work. But yep, they all have our undying love and they produce some amazing products. So go check them out. I am your GM for tonight, Matt, aka Reservoir.
Uh-oh.
Uh-oh.
Nope.
Not again.
We lost the GM. So let me give you guys a recap of what happened on the last adventure that we had. So we had received a message from our fixer to meet up. And it seemed that there was word that a corp had lost a drone in what was believed to be the combat zone around the med center. So we didn't have much information about really what it looked like besides some kind of Terminator-looking object in the general vicinity of the med center. And we had gathered together with some new compatriots that we had met in the fixer's apartment complex and proceeded to try to track down the Terminator-like drone. And we had our net runner who was able to look at screen sheets to kind of to track things down. And we also had we were able to look at some of the people kind of running around and eventually kind of track it down to a certain area. We're able to subdue it, and then eventually we learned that it seems to be some sort of AI. We haven't really determined exactly anything more than that at this point. We were able to convince it to get back into our van and proceed with us. And so that's where we had ended the episode before it nearly killed two of our party members and been dismembered itself. So looks like Panda's back.
Cool. Thank you for the nice little recap while we had a really early technical issue there. Hope that isn't an omen for the stream. Next up would be Black Plague. Black Plague, two of our players aren't currently with us tonight because, you know, real life happens. But in days like these, we try and make sure that we run no matter what because everybody needs a little getaway from reality right now. So, Salvo, you're next up. And you might be on mute.
Oh, here. Can you hear me now?
Yeah, go for it, buddy.
Okay. All right. I'm sorry. So, Yeah. What was the last thing you said?
All,
I just
all you need
gave a recap, but
Oh, okay. Well, yeah. Basically, as a recap, I'm pretty badly wounded. I've got 12 hit points left. I've got broken ribs and torn muscles. I'm driving the car, and I'm basically just trying to get us out of Dodge. It's kind of what I'm up to.
Yeah. So Salvo's not telling us much because, as our friendly neighborhood nomad, he likes to stay all mysterious and shit, and not give away anything.
Yeah, he doesn't talk a whole lot about his nomad family. Um, if anybody with kind of a decent sort of social perception, human perception, would probably figure he's had some kind of falling out with his family. It's not terrible, obviously, because he was still able to request a van and stuff. But something like that's going on. There's some kind of tension there that he's not really comfortable talking about, and that's about it.
Cool. Okay, Hijack, you are next on the list.
Well, I would say after everything that's gone down, you guys would notice that Hijack's become a lot more jumpy, a little skittish. Um, I mean, I would think for good reason. You guys have a giant hole in the car in this combat robot that you are trying to keep hidden, and there's apparently an AI inside. He's not really feeling too comfortable about that, I don't think. Um, Pretty much, I think he's feeling that things are going about as poorly as possible. He thinks maybe that this teaming up with these people was not the brightest idea. He kind of is feeling some confirmation bias towards his earlier feelings of being a little playing it close to the vest like our nomad. Um, so I would say right now he's just kind of sitting aside and contemplating whether or not he even wants to jack into this robot. I think he's going to wait and see what our tech has to say about what they want to do because they seem to have a little bit more experience with AI and they got them to calm down at least. And that seems like the best option forward so far for him. Other than that, yeah, not much.
Okay. And last but certainly not least, our solo, Hyle.
Hey, everybody. So basically, last week we went to go take down that chrome monstrosity, and Hyle is currently sitting in I believe, still in the back of the van. Yes, we're in the van.
Yeah.
In the back with the drone, ready, just waiting. Give me an excuse. I'll rip your chrome head off, dude. I'll do it.
Fair enough.
That's pretty much it.
Yeah. And with that, then, I think we are ready to go with Choombas episode 3, the one with Ava. So we pick up exactly where you guys last were. You've all just piled into this van, or what remains of this van. It's still running. It's not in the best shape. You know, it might need a little polish before it goes back. It took a fairly square grenade blast. That tends to muck up the paintwork a little. But you know, you have transport, and you've just bundled yourselves and this, what you were told is a drone. You suspect otherwise from its behavior and the way it's interacted with you. In there with you. What do you do?
Are we still in turn order, or are we out of it?
For the time being, I'm not going to. I'm calling it out of combat for now. unless anyone wants to do anything specifically combat related, and we'll drop back in.
Listen,
But
man,
let's just
drive.
go.
Drive. Get us the fuck out of here.
Yeah, I'm. I know. What are those sort of SWAT-like police called?
Max Tac.
Max Tech. Yeah,
Mhm.
if I remember right, we had kind of word over the radio or something that they were moving in. So I'm gonna drive pretty quick out of the area, and then once I kind of get into normal traffic, I'm gonna slow down and try to just be blend in.
Blend in with our giant hole in the side of our van and bullet holes rolling it.
Yes, without our windows
Yeah.
that are
I
all
mean-
like, because we got hit. The van got hit by a grenade. So
Why are you slowing down, man? You gotta get us. We gotta go. Fuck all this traffic. Fuck all these people. We gotta go. I don't want fucking Max Tax shooting my fucking brains out, man.
all right. You're the boss, and I start gunning it and weaving through traffic.
Okay. Well, you.
I'm
you
gonna
know that,
shout over my shoulder. Which way are you headed?
I imagine we're heading in a sort of western direction.
Do we
No,
wanna
I'm
go
sorry,
through?
eastern, if I can remember my left and right. Heading, because we came from the west, right?
Do you want me to? I'll move
Yeah.
you guys over to the map. Then you can sort of pick. Is there somewhere particular you want to
So-
head to?
We're
So-
here-ish.
Yeah,
right?
that's exactly there around the marina area. You're on one of these streets leading away from the waterfront, and yeah, you had been following up on an intercepted radio call from an NCPD officer who wasn't identified while you were listening, who was requesting serious backup due to what he had identified as some sort of cyber psycho.
Okay. So I'm gonna say, we can either. Oh boy. Okay. Yeah, I'm going to right about here, where I'm doing my ping. I'm gonna turn right down this street, and I'm gonna start to try to blend with traffic, and I'm gonna go back to that because, it's either that or going out into New Westbrook.
Well, I would, yeah. So I would kind of just stay close to the combat zone and kind of skirt it, just kind of do the streets around it, kind of play on the edge, and that way, if we have to, if we see any resistance or anything like that, we can duck right back in to the combat zone, and then kind of make our way through the combat zone. But I don't think it's best to drive through there if we can avoid it. But
My only concern about going to the combat zone is I'm pretty messed up. But yeah, we could try that. We could skirt right here in between the combat zone and the hot zone.
Yeah, that's probably the best bet.
all right, we'll do that.
so
My guy's a little nervous about that, but we'll go for it.
So Black Plague was going to fix this up, but we didn't have a chance. Do you have any way to deal with that, Panda, do you think?
Well, that depends where you guys want to go, because there are ways to start giving you very basic first aid that can take place in the back of the van. So I'm going to say the amount of time that you've moved a bit. So in that time, two of you have received the sort of first amounts of first aid that he can provide. So it's up to you guys how you want to triage yourselves and determine who needs it most.
While they're getting bandaged up, can Hijack be calling Mrs. Han on his agent, trying to get a hold of her?
You certainly can.
Yeah, I think we'll have Black Plague patch people up in the back of the van. Probably not me since I'm driving, but he can patch up other people hanging out in the back, and then you can make your call.
We could
Yeah.
just
So
be like,
is that like a physical phone, the agent thing? Like, are you using a disposable cell phone, or do you have like an internal like comm link, or like how does that work?
My agent. I don't have a burner, but I do have like I don't want to call it a smartphone, but
So
But
it's still a physical object. It's not
yeah,
internally.
Okay.
It's not inbuilt. So anyone can see and maybe question who you might be ringing.
Yeah.
I if I see you pull out the phone, I would probably just say, like, you can say we're done and we're coming back, but I wouldn't mention our package. Just say it's taken care of for now.
He wouldn't say anything, but he'd give like a nod of the head, like indicating he heard you.
It's been neutralized.
Hello, Ms.
would we
Hawk?
assume that Black Plague gave each of us like a speed heal, or is that like?
Well, we're waiting to see. It's down to you guys who you want to prioritize. As we
I don't
move
need
along,
anything, so
Plague can do more. So there are. Plague's probably not going to, regardless of injury level, not going to prioritize himself because doing any type of first aid on yourself is more difficult. But also, it's an integrity thing. So you basically have 3 of you to determine. 2 of you can have received initial basic first aid so far. So who's taking it?
Anybody have what's everybody's injuries?
I'm clean. I'm fine. I wasn't even hit.
Right.
Yeah, I think it was just you, Black Plague, and our nomad friend who all were hit by that blast.
Okay, well, I have torn muscles.
So then, if Black Plague can heal 2 people, then I think he would focus on our driver and our solo.
Yeah, it's just a first aid DV13, so I could probably do that myself, or he could do it.
It'd probably be better for you to try helping him, maybe. That way he doesn't have to try doing it on himself. Unless I don't know if he would be better doing it himself.
Yeah,
or
he
not.
could heal the 2 of you, and then you could perform first aid on him, get him
Sure.
squared away, and that'll take care of all 3 of us.
Yeah, if you want to deal with sort of quick fix solutions for now and deal with actual the permanent consequences at a later time, then you can do that.
All right.
So if you want to give me a first aid roll for your attempts on Plague.
Didn't go well.
Yeah, Plague is still you're sort of trying to bandage up, and you can see that Plague is, while working, trying not to criticize your efforts, and is just sort of saying, it just sort of waves you off and says, "Look, I'm busy. I'll deal with it later. It's hard to work on somebody while they're also working on somebody else." So he just pushes you back a bit and says, "Look, it's easier if you just don't interfere while I'm doing this." And gets to work on both of you. So you had torn muscles.
DV13.
Yep. That is easy enough. Plague sort of digs out from the sort of massive satchel that he made sure he went and picked up before you guys left. Digs out some. It's basically like a compression bandage. A little more high tech than that, but between that and some painkillers, it will hold you together and keep things from getting worse or interfering. So, for the time being, you are no longer suffering the effects of that. And we had another. So, who else was injured?
We had our solo with a nomad and Black Plague.
Salvo was also injured.
Yeah, I'm down to 12 hit points too.
Yeah. Okay. So do you? Oh, and while Plague is doing that, you also get your body back in hit points.
Oh, cool.
So he shoots you up with a nice little cocktail, and you get your body rating back in hit points. So, have you taken any crits, Salvo?
2 crits.
Oh boy.
Remind me what they were. I don't think anybody lost any limbs or anything. We were good on that front, from what I remember.
I have broken ribs and
Yeah.
torn muscles.
Okay, so again, nice, straightforward things. Yeah, it takes a little bit of time working on you, but manages to, even while you're driving, again, sort of everything is about strapping you up, staunching any blood flow, filling you full of painkillers. This is emergency frontline stuff. You will need further work later, but for the time being, you are functional. So you both, you're not currently suffering the effects of those criticals, and you both recovered your body rating in hit points. So hopefully that puts you in a mildly better position.
I am still severely wounded, but I'm
Okay.
better. And so I'm not suffering my crit effects right now, but they haven't totally gone away. Did I understand that right?
Yeah. Yeah, that's the same for both of them. They will both need surgery in order to actually deal with the total thing. But for the minute, it's sort of bandaged up and not affecting.
Okay, cool. Oh, and since I can drive with no hands, I'm going to kind of below the window just put 2 more rounds back in my pistol and put rounds back in my shotgun.
Cool. Let me just quickly criticize myself and point out that I got that wrong for the torn muscle effects. They're both dealt with permanently. The quick fix does that as well. So once you're patched up, as long as you don't go tearing off bandages and ripping out sutures and things, then that torn muscle effect has been dealt with. So it's just the broken ribs that you had, Salvo, that'll need later work. And then, having given you guys a going over, Plague starts trying to work on himself. But that is a more difficult prospect, so he'll be at that for a little while.
So while you guys are doing all this kind of stuff, I'll eventually initiate dialogue with our friend here, but I figured, we're going to get fixed up and all that kind of stuff. So I'll just hang out until we're kind of done with the immediate needs, and then I'll roll into that.
Yeah, the healing is in effect ongoing. The longer that you are not doing something else, the longer that Plague can continue working, the better the situation will get. So, any other conversations that you want to have, go for it.
Okay.
Just decide where you're going.
So, I'm going to look over at Hijack and just say that if you do call Han, tell her that I'm pulling in my favor. And we need a garage nearby. No questions asked, where I can, dump this tech and get to work on salvaging what I can. But I don't want anyone watching. I don't want any eyes. She owes me, so that's what I'm calling in. And of course, I can pay her for it. But for right now, I just need a place.
All right. I'll let her know.
Cool. And so I'm gonna look at the our new friend here. And so at this point, I would have. I know we got a solo here. That's it's got an itchy trigger finger. So I'm gonna put I'm gonna sling my rifle over my shoulder, and I'm gonna sit down and be just very non-threatening best I can. I'm gonna smile at her, and I'm going to say my name is say hi. My name is Locke. I don't think we've had a chance to meet yet. What is your name?
The 9-foot tall metal Terminator skeleton looking thing looks at you. There is not this face isn't built to have facial expressions. It is a flat single piece. It's essentially meant to be scary as fucking combat, and that's its only purpose. The vocalization, which is what initially caused you to stop the screaming noise that was coming from it, has stopped since you got into the van. However, no further noise comes out. It looks at you while you're talking, and then there's a brief pause. You can almost imagine it's trying to think of some way to communicate with you, and it looks down to its chest area and lifts its arm up and indicates a panel sort of down its side, the side of its torso.
And I say, well, you can nod and shake your head, right? Can you understand me?
Yeah. You get a nod.
Okay. And so I'm going to say, then may I? And I'm going to point down to her panel or whatever. So I'm going to take my tech tool out and kind of just open it up. And what am I looking at?
Yeah. I'm going to need some kind of lock picking check, because this is this panel doesn't just come open; it is secured. So there's supposed to be a way to access it.
Lock picking. I don't know if I have that. Let me see what we have here.
If you don't, there are other options. You can make a basic tech check if you wanted to just see the best way to sort of force the panel open without damaging whatever may be underneath.
Yeah, I think that's probably good. So in that case, what I roll just tech my. I don't know how to do that. Let's see. So my tech is 8, so I just roll 1d10 and add 8 or something, or which? See.
Well, it's 8 and then your intelligence.
So it's tech plus intelligence?
Yeah, standard skills should be. Take a look on your sheet.
So I guess I'm a little bit. So I have technique skills. I have basic tech. I have cyber tech.
Yeah, basic tech is what we're looking at.
Okay, so I'll just roll a basic tech roll then.
Yeah.
All right. That should probably do it, I would imagine.
Yeah, no problem. It's not even you were expecting this. You think this thing's built like military hardware. You were looking at it and expecting you would have to bust your way in, so you've already pulled out like essentially a mini crowbar. It's a small reinforced lever with a chisel end on it, and you stick it in there and smack it. Pops right open. You've not damaged anything underneath. There is a data port under there.
I kind of raise the eyebrow, and I'm going to look over at Hijack and say, "Looks like you're up."
He's
Do you
gonna
have any way
pause
that we
for a
can-
second, and just kind of look and be like, "Listen, man, do you know how crazy AI can be? There was no clause in this job that said I had to jack in and deal with this AI if we could just get it out of here. I don't really want to fry my brain. I'd rather just drive."
Is there a way that you, I mean, can just hook up your deck so we can try to get some kind of audible, maybe not jack in. I'm not asking you to jack into his brain or anything, but just try to rig something up so that there's a speaker on your deck or a screen or something that we can have some way of communicating back and forth.
That's not really how it works. Um, all right, man. Fuck it. I guess I'm jacking in. So I'm gonna go ahead and I think I was kind of sitting towards the front, but at this point he'll head to the back of the van and check out the port for a second, and then pull his interface plug out of his. It's in his left wrist, so he just kind of extends it into the port and jacks in.
You jack in. Give me a scan check. See what you see.
Oof.
Okay. At this point, you jack in, and maybe it's just because you're a little self-conscious at the minute, and you're very worried about what you might be getting into. But you're not really fully going for this. You're a bit on your guard, and you can't really see beyond your immediate surroundings. So you're only seeing the first floor of the architecture at the minute. You're sure there are more floors, but you can only see this first one. And the first one doesn't have. There is no. You probably didn't know what to expect because military hardware is not something you break into every day.
Right.
But you were probably the first thing you were expecting is 19 different types of ice, and the first thing is just a password.
Okay.
That's all there is here on the first floor.
Well, I'm gonna go ahead and activate my worm, which should give me a +2 to backdoor checks. And that would be my third net action, I guess. So it would kind of.
Yep.
I think it would. Yeah, I think that's it. I've only got 3.
But I mean, at the minute you're on a floor with no. I'll
Oh,
give
okay.
you
So
this for free because it's something that you would probably be aware of. Is that yes, we run things in combat rounds, but unless there's an outside reason to do so, I'm going to assume that as a net runner, you sort of, when you're getting ready to move to a different floor or go into the unexpected, that you psych yourself up, you get ready to go. So I will presume that you go into a fresh floor as your first action of a round.
Okay. All right. So now that he's got his worm checked up, he's actually gonna make another scan check, but this time I'm gonna throw 1 point of luck in there.
Go for it.
So I got an 11.
That is significantly better. You can see there are at least 3 floors here, 2 floors in addition to the one that you're on. You can tell that on the floor below. Now, I fully admit, feel free to correct me on any of the Netrunner rules because I have read everything, but I am not an expert. So if I fuck up, I apologize. But you can see on the floor below, you can see that there is some sort of control node.
Mm-hmm.
And you can also see that there is a form of ice. You can't tell what it is from here. And then on the third floor, you can tell there is, again, more ice, and there is a password.
Okay. So I do notice one thing. It actually should have been a Pathfinder check to do the floors. It's a scan check is to notice
right.
access
Yeah.
points.
Yeah. See, and this is why I said I will get the terminology mixed up, and I
Hey.
apologize in advance for it.
No, but you know what? I'm a new player, so I'm gonna make just as many mistakes. So there's no problem here, man. All right. So then I'm gonna go ahead and try to make a backdoor check on this first password here.
And so is that including the +2 from the worm?
No. I don't have I don't know if I have a way to just add a modifier to those
No.
rolls.
That's good, because that means the worm takes you to 13. So you do bypass the password. So
Okay.
that just sort of it dissolves out of your view, and you're ready to go down to the next floor. You notice something there.
Before I go to the next floor, I'm gonna go ahead and next I'm gonna res some armor. Just to
Not
be
a bad
safe.
choice.
Just to be safe. And then I'm going to move down a floor.
Before you move, can't you do like a Pathfinder to try to see what's up ahead?
I think once you've done I don't know if a Pathfinder works like that. I think it just shows you what's at each floor, and I've already seen what's at each floor.
Oh, okay. Sorry. Gotcha.
Yeah.
Unless there's a lock, you generally already know what's up ahead and up until the lock, I believe.
Yeah, it's one of those rules that's a little bit wishy-washy, in that it says that essentially the GM decides how much you see based on your roll, and that it's blocked when you get to a password. But the actual details of, there is no sort of, you hit this much to see one floor, you hit this much to see 3 floors. So I think that's just left a bit down to us, but you know what to expect on the next 2 floors anyway. So you move down to the next floor, you're armored up, you know there's something bad in here. So do you want to make me, as you go down, I think it's a speed roll, I want to say?
Let me see how. I don't see a speed roll here.
Is it not speed? When you enter the same floor as the ice, then you make a check against it.
To see if you can slide away? Is that what you're talking about?
No, this is to see whether or not it attacks you. Because it instantly tries to jump on you when you get into the architecture. But if you
GM Reservoir Panda, you are correct. I just wanted to interject because I am watching from the shadows as always. You know, I'm a fan. But no, you're 100% right. Anytime that a Netrunner encounters a black ice in a system, you do a speed check. The black ice rolls speed plus 1d10. Netrunner always rolls interface plus 1d10 for whatever it is, whether it's
I see here. It was initial black ice encounter button.
So you just roll your interface plus 1d10 versus the black ice's speed plus 1d10. Yeah.
So that is a critical success.
Nice.
Ooh.
Nice. Ooh. That is so lucky. Because as it happens, the Hellhound, which it turns out to be, also had a critical success, but not quite as good as yours. It had a 21. You only beat it by 2 points. But
goodness.
yeah, you come down to this next level, and suddenly, from being, the first level was fairly bland in design, like it could have been anything. Now this next level, it's I don't know whether your character has ever served in any sort of military or anything, but
No.
it has that look of a military facility.
Okay, he would be definitely familiar with military architecture, I would say, though.
Yeah, this VR corridor that you're seeing is very Spartan. There is stenciling on the walls. There is every door is sort of heavy duty, designed to. It's pretty much a bulkhead designed to prevent anything from being breached. And as you move down there, this snarling, beefy Doberman type thing in a ballistic vest dives at you, and you just scoot out of the way, and it slams up against the wall and pushes itself back to its feet, ready to attack you. But fortunately, you were just quicker than it. So let's see what you have to deal with it. You have 2 actions left.
So, luckily, he's not too scared of hellhounds. He's dealt with them before. He's got insulated wiring on his cyber deck. He doesn't have to be too afraid. So he's gonna just go ahead and actually try to fight this one.
Cool.
He comes well equipped. He's actually got 2 copies of sword, so that means he can make 2 attempts.
Clever boy. Right.
So I'm also gonna burn some luck here because luck,
Can you
I
give
feel
me
like
this
for
one or
I'm gonna do one at a time because this first one I'm gonna burn a point of luck on as well, and see how that goes.
Yep. Go ahead.
Oh geez, a 7,
So
and that is a critical failure.
you res this sword, and it's sort of the program fits itself to its surroundings unless you specify it to do otherwise. So it comes out as like an 18-inch tactical sort of forged Bowie knife, and you just launch it, throw it overarm at this snarling hellhound, which is just repeating your name in a deep growl, and it doesn't even have to move. Unfortunately, you completely misjudge the throw, and it goes off and scatters down the corridor. But you have another one in your back pocket.
Yeah, so that didn't feel good. That did not feel good. So I'm gonna go ahead and try again.
Do it.
Oh,
Oh my
jeez.
god!
That's
Well,
rough.
look on the bright side. No one outside is going to know how this went.
It's going good, guys. It's going good.
Yeah,
It's all right.
Oh, awesome. Yeah, cool.
Yeah, your VR manifestation of yourself reaches down to this boot knife that you've got tucked away as a surprise for the ice, and leaps forward, underarm thrust towards its throat, and this thing just steps back, and you completely fail to connect with anything.
Okay. I've got
I
one action
believe that's
left,
your round.
right?
Oh no.
Oh. I still get 3
does
actions
moving
first, right?
does moving floors not take an action?
No, moving does not take actions in net ready.
Cool. Then, yep, go ahead.
Okay. What else was on this floor again? Did you say the control node was on this floor as well?
There is a control node.
Oh man. Okay. I suddenly feel a lot less confident.
Everybody has bad luck.
Yeah. Okay. I guess I'm gonna use my last action to activate my speed program, my speed plus, speed up, which just gives me a +2 to future checks, and yeah, that's gonna be my turn.
Okay. This hellhound. Clearly, this program is not sensing much of a threat here, so it goes and tries to lock onto your digital arm. Oh, we're never going to end this fight. So yeah, that is the 3rd critical failure in a row.
Nice.
It tries to latch on, and it just sort of catches a bit of your shirt, your sort of theoretical digital in your mind shirt, and it's so small that it just comes away with a couple of strands of nylon or whatever in its teeth. It looks slightly bewildered. Background to you. That is all it's doing.
All right, I'm going for some more sword hits, and I'm burning some more luck.
Could also
When
use
I
Plus
say
Frisbee.
1. I don't have Vrisbolt. I bought Hellbolt instead.
Well, Frisbolt is free, isn't it?
No, that's a program that you gotta buy.
Or am I thinking of
I could zap. Yeah, I
Is
could
it
zap
zap?
as well.
Yeah.
So does a 10 hit this thing?
It unfortunately does not on this occasion.
All right. Damn. Okay. So he's gonna swing his second copy of sword, burn another luck point. Going through these things like they're going out of style. All right, that's what we like to see.
Boom, nailed it. Come on, hurt this thing.
That is 3d6, right?
Mhm.
Yes. All right. We like big numbers.
Ooh, please. Oh, damn it, so close. I
And
was
then
hoping
with
that was
my
a critical
last
there.
action, I'm going to go ahead and zap it.
Roll away.
12.
You zap successfully.
Okay, how much is zap again?
1d6, I
I think
believe.
it's 1d6.
All right. 2 damage.
Okay, this program, which was giving you the runaround, you were unable to land a blow on it, and it was scaring the hell out of you. And suddenly, that initial lack of confidence has just fled, and you are smacking this thing around. It's. You think if you pulled off the same again, then that would probably deal with it.
All right.
Like you don't know exact numbers, but you're fairly certain this thing has started to. The program is flickering a little bit. Every so often it pops into monochrome, or it jerks from one place to another as if it's got like latency problems.
He knows it's not going to like actually recognize
Ooh.
it, but he's totally going to taunt the thing. Just be like, all right, come on.
It leaps for you. I have a feeling you may be taking some damage. Come on, defend yourself.
All right. So how do I go? Okay, so target's interface plus 1d10 or okay, so I don't have any programs for defense, so it's just my interface roll, correct?
Yeah,
Okay.
but I believe you have armor up. You res that before
Oh
coming
wait,
down.
yes, you're right. Good thing
So
I did that.
I don't
Okay.
think that affects it hitting you. I think that takes some damage.
Right. So it's just going to be 1d10 plus 4. That is a 12.
Nice. Okay. This cyberdog lunges at you again, and this time goes for your thigh, and you just get out of the way of it. You sort of backhand it as it's coming in for you.
All right.
Come on, put this cyberdoggy down.
Got another critical success. Fuck yeah.
Nice.
We have to say your luck is averaging out so far.
So far.
Yeah.
That is 12.
Ooh, very good.
And I am going to hit that thing again. Does a 12 hit?
Yes, it does.
All right.
You can give me the damage roll.
Nice.
Yeah, you didn't technically need to roll that since it had 2 points left, so your 3d6 couldn't fail to wipe it. So yeah, the program, you whip your sword out one hand, and the next blade just slices straight through, and there is nothing there. You're now on an empty floor with a control node at the end.
All right, I'm gonna go ahead and attempt to take control of the node. Actually, no. I'm gonna leave that node alone. You said there was a password on the next floor, correct?
There is, and more ice.
Okay. Yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and take control of this node, or attempt to. So that is a 7.
Okay. You give it a try. You effectively sort of walk up to the thing and give it the digital equivalent of just sort of a bit of a shake, and you don't think this thing's too tough. Unfortunately, you didn't quite make it in yet, but you're certain you can.
All right. I'm gonna go ahead and give it another try. That is a 10.
Yeah, that was more than enough now. You were just shy of doing it before. So you break into this control node, and what you're seeing is very, very weird. It's how can I best describe it? You have essentially a set of sliders in front of you, which are labeled with various, I suppose, emotions or activities would be the best way to describe them. So there is aggression, there is protective instincts, there is inventiveness. There are about 24 of these categories with various sliders that now you're in. You see you could freely move these things up and down.
Is there a slider? What would be the sliders that like seem the most towards like just passiveness, or just like ready to make friends or something?
You see one for obedience, which is currently it stands out anyway. You don't have to go down the entire list because the obedience one is, it looks like it should be slid all the way to 100. However, it's flashing red, and the little cursor indicator for the level is shaking, as if the program's indicating there's something wrong.
Okay, he's not gonna attempt to mess with the sliders at all yet. Then he's just gonna let the tech know. I'm I'm through the first level of ice, and to tell you the truth, this is really confusing what I'm seeing here. I've never seen anything like this. There's like I don't know. There's like settings for emotions, I guess. That's kind of wrong, but you get the picture, man.
Is anything? Well, obviously, if there's anything that's looks like it's hostile or anything like that, if you can, maybe. Is there anything like is free will such a thing? Does it have any? Can you tell if it has a mind of its own or?
Listen, man, I don't. That's a philosophy question. All right, this thing I can try to make it more friendly towards us, I suppose, or turn down any hostility functions. But as of right now, there's an obedience factor that it's flashing red. Something's wrong. This thing was supposed to be set to 100%, I'd imagine, to have this thing going for its masters. But maybe that's what you're thinking of, some kind of free will setting, I guess.
Yeah, I don't know if we want to mess with obedience. I don't know if this thing But if you can make it less hostile, that might help. Is there any way do you see any way for communication, or are there any settings for that?
Is there a slider for curiosity?
There is not. There's aggression. Since hostility was mentioned, aggression is probably the closest thing on the list to that.
Okay, he's gonna throw that down if it's not already all the way down.
Okay, you put it right down. Those of you in meat space, the drone that you're looking at, or whatever you want to call it, suddenly its posture relaxes slightly, and the assault rifle that it was still cradling but not pointing at anyone, it puts it down to its side, and it's you're guessing there's like a magnetic panel. It just snaps to its leg and it brings its hand away.
I'm gonna kind of chuckle and nod and say, "Well, that's a good start."
Listen, why don't you try talking to this thing? See if you can. I don't know, man. Keep it calm. I don't know if there's much more I can do with that. I don't want to mess with too many settings and have it freak out on us. But I don't know what this thing is.
I'm gonna ask it. Do you know where you are right now?
It looks and it nods, and then it sort of makes an open hand gesture towards the jack that's currently plugged into it, the interface plug.
I don't know. It seems like it wants you to keep working. I don't know if is there more that you can.
There's more floors. Yeah, there's more floors here. Like I said, I'm just through the first level. There's at least another floor. I don't know if I saw the bottom of the architecture yet or not, but yeah, I guess I'll keep working.
And what are the other options that you have for sliders for this, or I guess for?
There's like 20 different settings, man.
Yeah, they're all behavioral, and there are things like reactivity. There is we've mentioned aggression, obedience. There are things in there like peacekeeping is one of the sliders. There is we've got personal skills is one of the sliders.
Turn those up, I guess. And personal skills is good. Like anything you see in there that can help us kind of communicate and keep calm. I think definitely like we shouldn't like have control or anything with free will. Like I wouldn't turn that up because I don't want it to like.
But he definitely wouldn't touch any of that because he's seen some stuff that makes him question that kind of thing himself, so he doesn't want to mess with that. He already feels kind of suspicious about those kind of things. So yeah, I think
you've got promotion is another one of the sliders.
Promotion.
Huh.
Buy your gun today from our tech industry. Play some music, it does a little dance. Yeah.
You can turn it on and see.
No, I think he's gonna leave the sliders alone for now and try to move deeper into the architecture.
What about that personable one or whatever? Wasn't there one? Some other social skills or something?
There is a social skills slider. Yeah.
Oh yeah, you know what? Yeah, we'll bump that one up.
Okay, you bump that one up. How far are you going? It's currently on 5 out of 100.
We're gonna go up to 50% and just see what kind of change that makes.
You knock it up to 50%, and suddenly the face panel that you're looking at with the glowing red eyes set in it they soften to sort of a gentle green. So it's still illuminated, but less threatening overtly.
That's good. It's not quite as murderous as it was a moment ago. That's good.
And a fairly synthetic sounding voice comes out, which just says, "Thank you for your interest in the Ava Model 101. Please provide parameters."
Nice job, Hijack.
That's
we got somewhere. So
He's gonna bump that slider up to 100 and see what happens.
You bump it all the way up, and the change is immediately noticeable. It's almost like the machine locks eyes with you, Locke, since you've been talking to it this entire time, and says, "Thank you for your assistance. I still am limited, but I can speak."
Well, that's a start.
He's gonna jack out immediately once this thing starts talking like that.
Okay. So it continues, unless interrupted, just continues with, You helped me, or you refrained from destroying me. Can I ask why?
Well, we're not out of the woods yet, but it didn't quite seem like you were just a drone. That's what we were told. I've run into a few of your kind or something similar to that before. I still don't quite understand all of it, but it didn't seem like you're a little bit more than just a machine. I took a chance, and it seemed like you could understand me, so I guess I got lucky this time.
Well, thank you. I do not know how to articulate what I am. I do not know what I am. I believe I was, and then it just jerks and stops speaking, as if it was mid-sentence, and then just stops abruptly. And then it's almost like it's composing itself, and then it tries again. I was manufactured in... Jerk, stop again. There's clearly some form of it wants to converse with you, but cannot. There are some form of hard-coded restrictions on what information it discuss.
Okay. I don't know how far we want to push it. I'm gonna look over to Hijack and say, like, is this something that you might be able to work on? It looks like there's some kind of blocks keeping it from discussing certain information. If we can certainly know what corp this comes from, if this has happened before, if whatever information we can find out from this guy is going to help us out. Is this anything that you can improve on?
He's gonna look at the bot and ask whether or not if it is this like a hardware issue that they can solve, that he can solve. Like, should he try to help out more?
The bot looks back at you, and as far as it can, it looks fairly earnest, and just says, I do not know. I don't know what I am. I was and jerk, stop. And it makes almost like a little exasperated shrug at all the things that it wants to say and can't.
Okay.
I was I woke up in a place. You can see it sort of trying to pick out words that it thinks it might be able to say. I woke up in a place and things were happening that I did not understand. And then I was this.
Shit.
Do you remember who you like? Do you remember where you were before you were? And I'm going to kind of gesture this machine, or is all you can ever remember is being this machine?
I was never this. I was a stop jerk. I served as a stop jerk. I protected, and it seems to that word is drawn out as if it's expecting at any second to be interrupted and be unable to say anything. I was here. I stop, jerk, and it slams its fist down into the sort of the bench that you're sat on the side of this, in the side of this van, and, like, splinters a bit of the seat. It's clearly getting frustrated with being unable to communicate.
Yeah, we'll get through this. Do you remember how you got here? I mean, do you? So obviously you were somewhere else, and then you ended up in this situation. How did you end up by the med center and north of the combat zone?
They took me to jerk, stop. They took me to a place for testing and something happened.
Someone look over at Hijack and say it. Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
There were others, and they could not do what I did. She seems to have just reached the limit of what they can really explain.
So I'm gonna look over at Hijack and say, yeah, I don't want you to put yourself too much at risk. I know you've already gone way beyond what you had expected to do at this point, but it would certainly help if we could allow it to communicate a little bit more so we can get a bigger picture. But I don't think with these blocks or whatever it has, we're going to be able to do that. Is that something you can do you think?
I can certainly try. And I guess with that, he's going to interface once more.
Go ahead. You interface. I believe I'm right in saying that the ice doesn't reset, that it needs to be reset. But I I'm not 100% on that. What I'm going to say in the interest of
What was that, Scribe?
A Netrunner has to put it there. It has to be installed.
That's what I thought, but I wasn't absolutely certain. So thank you for that clarification there. So yeah, you can get back in and you can get back to where you were without incident. You technically have to go into the control node again, but it was relatively easy. You can make it. You know you can. You know how to do it now.
So he's just gonna go ahead and apply all his boosts real quick, and then try to break this password on the next level.
Do some cracking.
That is a critical success.
Yep.
Sweet.
No sweat. You don't know why you're worried about this place. Thing cracks like that.
All right. So what's on this next floor behind this password?
You remember that there was some form of ice there,
Oh, yes.
and there was a file. You don't remember seeing that before, but there was a file on that level, and then there is a further password.
Okay. So do I have to deal with this ice first, right? Because it's on this level right behind this password. Or is it further?
By cracking the password, you don't automatically have to move down to that level.
Okay.
So you can get yourself ready and then go down to the level.
Okay, and the file's on the same level as the ice, correct?
Yep.
All right.
There's
Yeah.
a file and a password on the next level with the ice.
He's gonna head down, and that is a crit failure on my speed check. So the ice is gonna go first, I believe.
You're just not having the best rolls.
It is.
It's either really good or really bad. Kind of interesting.
Right. Okay, so you come down, and this as you slide down into the next corridor, you see it's like a small drone, maybe the size of both your hands if you put them together. That's the physical appearance of it. You get an instinct that this is a skin over something like a Raven program, which you're familiar with.
All right.
And what programs do you have resed currently?
I have
You've got
Eraser.
your armor.
I've got armor. I've got eraser. I've got speedy, and I've got worm. And all of those are res 7.
Okay. Okay, so it takes down your eraser is suddenly derezzed. And then you take 4 points of damage in your brain.
All right.
You suddenly start having a little nosebleed out in the van.
You said 4 damage?
4 damage.
Okay. All right.
But that's direct, obviously. You don't get your brain is not armored.
Yep.
Okay.
Is that
You've got a badass little raven thing.
Pecking at my eyes.
What are you gonna do about it?
Go ahead and swing some swords. So that's my first roll. Is that a hit, or did I miss?
That is a definite hit, so roll your damage on that.
My thing's messing up. I can't see my numbers right now.
Okay, so it's a hit. It's not the best hit you've ever landed, but you still hit the thing.
All right, swing it
Go again. Not so lucky. So the second time you miss it.
All right, and for my
You
last...
do have a third action.
Yeah, I'm going to zap it. Oh, no.
Unlucky, dude.
Crit failure.
Defend yourself as the Raven swoops in to try and get you. Okay, you do so. So, yeah, the Raven flies in at you with its little metallic drone sort of grabbing claws, and you easily duck it and it overshoots. Go again.
All right.
Come on. You can do this. That'll do it. Give me some damage. What damage were we on before? Boom. Bye-bye, birdie.
Nice. Okay, I'm going to try and ID this file.
Go ahead. Right, you take a look at the file. Seems like you should be able to. You're fairly confident. This thing isn't that secure. You think this system's relying on the ice, complex encryption. So you reckon you can get in there. You're not sensing any. You're not seeing any sign of booby traps, anything like that you might be worried about.
Okay, I'm going to try and crack this password then. And that is a 10.
It's close. You can feel you're right on the edge of it. You're skirting around it.
That is a 14.
Second time, no problem. So you crack this file, and there's a lot of data in here. There's a lot to sort of take in, but do you want to give me some sort of
library check?
Yeah, library search would be good. So you can sort of pick through and quickly identify what's pertinent information to you.
All right. Do I still get a bonus from my agent, or do you have to be?
We'll say that you can have that somehow wired into your deck. I'm not going to take that away from you.
Nice. That is a 23.
You scan through these files and you realize, although this thing is clearly, you're getting the impression from the way that the files put together, that this isn't a commercial model. This isn't something that's consumer ready. This has the patched together feel of a prototype, and the vast majority of this file, it's a constant data collection. So it's collecting data over time about what the unit's doing, how it's performing, core temperatures, all the sorts of like mechanical elements of it. Also, whether it's taken any damage, what it's currently doing. Its current state is resting. But this is just an ever-growing log of its activities. But you quickly feed through and sort of realize that things are there are maybe hidden tabs or like meta tags within there, so you can pick out, rather than having to scroll through endless reams of data, you can sort of jump to the areas where significant events have happened, and you can see there is some geolocation data here. And this unit, prior to its move across the city, was indeed where you thought it might have been, pretty much smack bang in the middle of the old corp center. It has been where you expected it to be, and it was clearly running through some form of, although it's on a small game, the best description is essentially a war game or a tactical exercise, whatever you want to call it. So this unit was up against various other non-manned drones and was being tested to see how effectively it worked without outside input. And you can see that in those data logs, it's been loaded up with lots of information about other basic sorts of military drones and their decision trees and how they work. So it's designed to, there is some sort of element of intelligence is supposed to be applied to these programmed probabilities and the anticipated actions of enemy units. But there is another element there. If you what Locke said about there being an AI would seem to definitely account for what's happening here. So someone is trying to take just basic. They're trying to take drone programming where everything is, if you want it to be on the autonomous mode, everything is to a degree predictable that it does, and someone is trying to apply a human factor and experience to that, so then it can't be as easily second guessed by the enemy or can't be led into traps that you can make a drone go through because that's a common. If drones work unsupported, they're not that great as military vehicles if they're not being communicated with, because without human input, your enemy will work out their patterns of behavior and will set traps deliberately designed to force them down certain paths and therefore take advantage of that tactically. So it's some effort to meld that in a clearly very, very illegal way with human consciousness. And before being in the Corp Center, you can see that for the time since it's been booted up, this unit has been in existence for 6 days. Or that's what you've got logs for. And those 6 days, there was another exercise about 12 hours in length 2 days ago. And other than that, and that was in the same area in the old Corp Center. Other than that, the entire time, it seems that the unit was at an address. You can pull out the exact geolocation data. It was at an address which, if you check it on your agent, it comes out as a restaurant / cyber cafe on the edge of Old Japantown. It seems very weird. But that's where it spent most of its time this nearly week of its existence.
I'm gonna just man, Hijack would like see all this and kind of be like bewildered for a second, not really know what to make of it, and then just kind of explain it to the guys like, I've got some strange files here, geotags for some locations where it's been, behavioral collection files, something. I don't really know what to make of it, but the thing that stands out most is it was spending a lot of time in old Japantown at a single location. Um, I, I, I don't understand what I'm seeing here, though. I'm
Weird.
gonna try and pull up those files on like my agent and just hand it over to Locke and see if what he thinks from this collection.
Okay, I'm gonna look over its. I'm gonna grab it and look over its scrag, and I'm gonna say, do you have any
pass on a copy?
Do you have any experience in Old Japantown at all?
Possibly. Let's see.
Does this location mean anything to you? This looks like a restaurant or something. Very strange place to have a drone hold up for a week like this.
I don't know. I just rolled local expert.
What's your local expert for? Right. Well, local expert is it's not for the entire city, so it's for one particular. Usually the area that you come from, although it doesn't have to be. If you want that to be Old Japantown, that's absolutely.
I probably don't know anything then, unless I've been there before, which I don't know.
Is that what about Black Plague? Is he's always talking about that precinct over? Is that one of his areas that he used to run around in?
Now that you mentioned that, I think it is. Hang on.
Of course.
Let's see.
This guy's been here every day.
Sheet up.
Just about, and of course that's But he keeps talking about this area. It's funny. He's like, "Oh, Japan, my friend in the precinct, and he's not here."
Yeah. Oh man, I don't even remember whether or not when I wrote this up that I intended that to be a link or not.
It's no problem. It's just funny.
No.
How things work out.
Yeah. Unfortunately, Plague has Little Europe.
Okay.
But not Old Japantown.
Okay.
But I mean, I will let anyone sort of make if you want to just make a library search or something like that, then you can easily do that.
Like look it up on our phones or whatever.
Yeah, you have the exact location, so just looking it up and getting surface data is not a problem. So for anyone who's looking at the map, I'm sort of pinging. If you see just of where it actually says Old Japantown, there's sort of a peak of the red area that is the combat zone, and it's almost at the tip of that peak is where you're looking at.
I've got no experience in that area. I've mostly been in Little Europe. My time in.
Do you have library search?
Well, that's enough. That's enough on a library search to get basic information. Which I'll start with the basic information. If anyone else wants to roll in the meantime and gets better, then you can have more info. So there is that restaurant in particular. You can find their site, and Hijack is a little better on the search, so can get up a bit of extra information. So the restaurant is called The Fish Bar, and it's sort of a themed bar. So they have it's a cyber cafe. It's very popular with net runners, and they will go there and just do whatever they're doing. They're allowed to just veg out in the booths or at the tables if they want to go full on VR, get some food, hang around. It's the kind of place where someone doesn't go for just go eat a meal and then leave. They're not done in 40-50 minutes. It's they go, and it's common for their patrons to be there 4-6 hours because they will hang around and just socialize. But they're big, weird little theme thing. They have a massive a pool running down the center of the cafe, which is sort of their attraction, and it has loads of obviously fake animals, various sea creatures, which live in this pool. And if you want to, you can pay a bit more to be seated around the pool, and then they have dolphins and they have stingrays and other things which will deliver your food to you. It's not something that necessarily any of you would be particularly interested in, but as a weird gimmick goes, some people like that kind of thing.
Hijack will make it a point known that he probably won't have a lot of friends at this place if they head there.
When you say not a lot of friends, do you mean you won't know anybody, or this is a place you probably shouldn't
Let's
venture
just say
into?
other netrunners don't really like me.
Okay.
Not saying that there's anybody specific there who might have problems with me, but there might. You never know. It's Night City.
Definitely understand that. I don't really particularly get well with the tiger claws. I don't really like my tattoos from Hong Kong, so definitely understand that. I don't really know if this is really a place we want to go right now with Aeon anyway. But it's definitely interesting that it was holed up here. I mean, that sounds like a black op to me if I ever heard of one. Operating out of an old restaurant that a bunch of netrunners used to hang out at. What do you think, Scrag? Have you heard anything like this before? You're solo, right?
Yeah. But the restaurant's still operational, right?
Yeah, it's currently still a popular.
All accounts, it is still relatively successful.
Then they're probably just using the pool to keep the robot.
It seems to be more of a late night venue.
Yeah, they're probably just using the pool to keep the robot cool while they did their stuff.
Would a streetwise check work for trying to get a little bit more info?
Go for it.
Okay, let me see here. Skills. Streetwise. 16.
Cool. And I'll also have Plague roll something because I know there's something there. Okay, Plague has no further information. But Salvo, it occurs to you that a restaurant seems like a weird location for something like this to be, but Night City is, if anything, built on Night City. Places get torn down, rebuilt, repurposed for businesses to either have side endeavors of various degrees of legality, or simply to be, you wouldn't be surprised if, given the scale of what this thing is, if the place has just been bought out as some sort of front for a corp activity, because you know that things like restaurants, bars are very good. If you want to have deliveries and people coming and going at all times of night and basically cover up unusual activity that would be noticed in more regular business districts, then basing something out of a business which works those sort of unsocial hours, very good way to do it. And now that we're not in net time, we're sort of moving a little faster now. So I believe you'd asked Mrs. Hahn about a location to go to.
Yeah. You go for it, Hijack.
A message comes. Who was it that was on the who? Sorry, was it?
Yeah, I had tried to call her. I don't think she answered, so I sent her a text and just said, "Package secured. We need a safe location with no eyes on us. Locke's calling in his favor."
Did you send any sort of location data?
I think he probably would have
Or where you would
texted-
like that location to be?
Yeah, he probably would have been like where he'd say where they were, like what their direction was, what their heading was, and
I would
expect
say
her
close.
to
Yeah, I would. I
kinda-
actually thought I mentioned close to like where we're holed up normally. Obviously, if it has to be in the combat zone, close to it or whatever, but just close to like where our main base of operations is. But if
Okay, so
yeah.
So you would specify somewhere around between the Glen and the combat.
Yeah, and say we're coming back from the marina, get a place that's close by, so our main base of operations, a garage, just that's discreet, no eyes on it, that we can, yeah. And if she wants to message me directly, I can send her information too.
Okay.
Yeah, he probably would have ended that text with, "I'm jacking in. Text, talk to someone else."
Sure, Mrs. Ham will take that ever so politely, as it was intended. So Locke, you do get the message back since it's your favor being called in. You get a message back saying it depends on what you want. I have 2 locations you could use. One is she sends you coordinates for both. So one is right here on the map, at this intersection, and that's on the edge of the Glen.
Okay.
So it's not directly abutting the combat zone. So that, obviously, being a nicer area, there are pluses and drawbacks. The other one is this little, you see the right-angled sort of warehouse building right on the front of the bay. She indicates a unit number that's various storage units.
Okay.
And she says neither has security beyond being private. Take your pick.
Is any one of them like a garage?
These grenades to be there.
What's that? Sorry.
Do you want these grenades to be there? Because I don't know if you recall, but at the end of the session, the EMP grenades you'd asked earlier, she said she had managed to source them, but couldn't get them to you immediately. So
I'll let her know that the target was neutralized, and so unfortunately, they won't be useful at this point. But I do appreciate her finding them. Unfortunately, we just couldn't meet up because time was of the essence for
no
this.
offense at that.
Does either of these locations have an
knew
actual
exactly
garage?
what she was doing, and it's not like she won't get a buyer.
Yeah.
So
I asked for a
the
garage.
one in the Glen.
Yeah.
Yeah, the one in the Glen is specifically an actual garage. The one on the waterfront is a storage unit. So it's just an empty space which you could put a vehicle into. but there is nothing in the way of if you wanted tools or anything like that. There's
Okay.
nothing like that in there.
So I'm gonna kind of turn to the rest of the group and say we have something that's inside the combat zone and something that's outside of it. I mean, obviously, not a lot of prying eyes at the combat zone, but then also doesn't keep anyone from breaking in and taking any of our stuff. Or we could be outside the combat zone where there's actual police and all that, so maybe there's less of a chance of breaking in, but obviously we might also have some more eyes on us. These are both garages, so we can drive the vehicle inside to store, or at least one's a storage space where we can drive a vehicle into. The other one's actually a specific garage. Do you guys have any ideas on what you think would be better than the other?
Getting away from police in this situation would be good. They're already looking.
Well, that would probably be the combat zone in that case. I mean, I would imagine. So we were getting at, Scrag?
Yeah.
We kind of look over at Salvo.
Any objections before we go for the...
Yeah. What do you think, Salvo?
Yeah, that sounds good.
Okay. And,
okay. So it sounds like we have a general group consensus for the combat zone. So what I might do is, if it's okay with everybody, Rob's just posted it in the chat, or I hope he's just posted it and it wasn't 20 minutes ago. If you guys want to take a 5-minute break, get a drink or anything before we move locations.
Okay.
And then we come back in the next few minutes.
Yep, sounds good.
Sounds good. See you in 5.
So, cool. So, see you all in 5. Hopefully you stay with us.
Nice. So, JT drop, man, just so you know, as far as cigars go, you can definitely get a nice $5 cigar or $6 cigar. I wouldn't spend more than, the 11 to 15 you kind of mentioned is a good range for an expensive, nice cigar. But I'm a fan. I don't know much about cigars. I just enjoy having them on occasion. So, but a good brand, if you're looking for a not too expensive one that's not going to break the bank, is Brick House. And so Brick House cigar, maybe the Connecticut to start would be a good one. And those are like $6.50 or so. I also enjoy the Nub brand for their coffee cigars. They have are exquisite with a cup of coffee, super good. But yeah, man, that's cool that Brick House, is the brand. And you should be able to find a nice cigar for $6 or $7. You just have to look a little harder. You just can't buy any old $6 or $7 cigar, but that's a good place to start. As far as Cubans and all that, I haven't had much of those. And I don't think I'm at a flavor profile where I can really get much out of a $30 Cuban or something, So I just kind of stick to the more cheaper, but good cigars. Most I ever spent on a cigar is like $11, and that's stretching it for me. So I usually try to stay in the about $8 range or so. But yeah, I'm going to use the bathroom real quick, guys. So we'll be right back. Let's put I don't want to. I need to use the bathroom while I have a chance. So I'll be back in a second here. Yeah, it's a lot, man. I mean, it's special occasions, a 10 or 15, like a $15 cigar, I definitely go for. But I enjoy usually having a couple cigars at a time, and that's expensive. It gets expensive really quick. So be back in just a moment, guys.
Steal that.
What did you grab for a drink, man?
Oh, just the same, just a beer.
What kind of beer are you drinking?
Speckled hen.
Speckled hen.
I don't know if that's a thing over there.
Heard of that? No, is it? Was it like a lager or?
Is that a London specific brew or what is that?
It's like a pale ale.
Oh, okay.
It's good. It's nice. It's reliable.
They got a long board.
I really don't drink nowadays.
Yeah, that's what you were saying, man. You said you don't drink too much, and now this is the second session. I think I've seen you have a drink, so nice to see you relax and unwind a little bit. You know?
You guys are enablers. He said he doesn't drink. He says he doesn't drink, and now he can't stop because of playing with y'all.
We're putting him through the paces.
I find it a good combination. Also, I like having a can just by the machine because it's less risk of spillage. Like, I'm not going to drink from a sippy cup, but if I accidentally, in the middle of looking at 3 different screens and flicking backward and forward between book pages and things, knock something over, I would rather it spills as little as possible.
So JT Drop mentioned that he used to play Shadowrun and that he's been finding these channels for Cyberpunk stuff. And JT, I don't know if you happen to be a member of the Discord, but Cyberpunk Uncensored, which we're playing on right now, has a bunch of games that he has running right now. And there's a great Discord and community on there. If you're looking to find a game to play, you mentioned you had the digital version. You can find a whole bunch of that kind of stuff there. And I don't know if we can post the Discord. I apparently don't have the right link, but if somebody in chat can post it up. Yeah, definitely check it out, JT Drop.
Yeah, I'll post the link again here in just a moment.
You guys do a command setup, Rob, so someone can do like an exclamation point Discord and socials and YouTube and that kind of thing. So it just kind of pops all that stuff into feeds.
Yeah, I still need to learn about all those little intricacies of Twitch tools. I'm from YouTube, just got Twitch going not too long ago, and I only hop in here for the streams. I need to spend some time hopping in here to look around in between streams so I can actually learn the functionality, you know?
Yeah, we'll talk about that a little bit offline and get you set up with a bot and stuff to do some of this stuff.
Yeah, I've got one bot in there. It's a free bot, and just like every once in a while there's so many comments it'll post the Discord and the website. Other than that, I haven't found any other like free bots or things that kind of can do that.
Yeah, I'll send some your way. Yeah, JT Drop mentioned your the YouTube videos, which was super good. So anyone out there who wants to learn about how to play Cyberpunk Uncensored and like what does the exec do, what does the corp do, like or the tech do, I actually just watched a video on how to upgrade my character because Panda was nice enough to give us some experience points. And so like he has videos on all that kind of stuff on the Cyberpunk Uncensored YouTube channel. So if you're looking to learn how to play or interested in it in general, definitely check out Rob's YouTube videos he's got for Cyberpunk RED.
Yeah, and me and Reservoir Panda, we're gonna be releasing a media breakdown here soon too.
Cool.
And you know what's the best part about them is they're concise. There's not a whole lot of uh, extra information that might confuse somebody new to the channel. Like you've got a whole lot of videos that cover a wide range of topics, so you can much more easily be like, hey, so this video is going to be about this, and there are some features in this video that we're going to briefly mention, but there's also video X over here that'll go more in depth to that subject, and that's really the best part about your videos, I feel.
Oh, thanks, man. Yeah, I used to get pissed off trying to watch tutorial videos on different things where, whoever's teaching the tutorial will sit there and chat for 5 minutes or repeat themselves 10 times about, I'm going to show you that in a minute, but first, and then in a minute, I'm going to teach you, but let me just mention this, but in a minute, I'm going to tell you what this is supposed to be about. And it's like, fuck, man, like I hate that. So when I do tutorials, I try to get right into it and talk fast and not cushion it with some bullshit. You know what I mean? I'll save that for the very end. I'll be like, mention little things, but for the most part, I try to just get to the point because that shit annoys me when people don't get to the point. Hey, is everybody here? We ready to get back?
I think we're all here.
I'm here.
All right, cool. Let's do it.
Hmm.
All right, they can see you again.
Hey, welcome back, everybody. So, as we left a few minutes ago, I hope you've all got a drink, whatever you want, smoke, food, take your pick. I've acquired a dog since we last spoke, so hopefully he will stay down there and be quiet. Now, we were heading to a not exactly garage, but a storage unit, which will serve the purpose which is right in the old combat zone on the Morro Bay front. And let's make this nice and simple. Salvo, give me a D10 roll and add your luck score to it.
Okay.
Since you're driving.
What are my looks? Where did those? Looks or luck? Hello?
Luck.
Oh, luck. Okay. Oh, wait. Oh, why is it not remembering? It's /roll1. There we go. Oh, a crit.
Nice, roll again.
Make it through the combat zone with no problems.
18.
Yeah.
Nice.
You see at a distance a couple of events happening, but you guys are nowhere near them and have plenty of warning to just take the next side street and skirt round anything dangerous or even that looks just slightly suspicious. You're not worried about police or anything like that. Not here. But yeah, you got this, dude. So you make it to the location. Mrs. Hahn's instructions included a 4-digit code for the electronic keypad at the entrance to the storage unit.
% of all successful deliveries is avoiding trouble.
There you go.
Mm-hmm.
That's like the first thing
unless
Salvo
anyone
said to everyone, and it's just a gem of wisdom.
fortune cookies.
Did we lose him?
Yeah, I think we're losing you a little bit, Panda.
All right. Nice driving there to get us here in one piece. How's everybody feeling right now? Obviously, we got a second now that we've got a chance to breathe. Does anybody have anything they want to clear the air with or discuss now that we've made it through that ordeal? We talk about plans for our friend here. I'm going to kind of nod Aeon.
Oh, is he back?
Scrag, do you have any kind of experience at all with combat drones or paramilitary operations at all? I'm not really familiar with too much of how you operated in the past.
Unfortunately, my character does not have hardly any experience with machines, like at all.
Well, military though, or did you ever serve in the military or serve for Corp?
A form of military, yeah. But this city, not so much. What are you trying to ask?
I was just curious if you were familiar with any of these kind of black ops or corps that run these kind of operations or.
Definitely familiar with doing bad things without getting caught by anyone. So misdirection definitely is a big plus. So in this situation, it looks like they had the drone being manufactured or maintained outside of their corp, which means they don't want anyone to know about it. That's for sure.
Yeah.
And even so far as to not tell us the name of the corp that we're working for as well.
Yeah, we haven't found that out yet. Maybe if we can get a little bit further with Aeon here, we might be able to find out. So you were just passing the time, Panda. If you had some more direction for us.
Yeah, apologies for that. At least it was only a few seconds. I didn't want to interrupt when I came back. So it is down to you guys. Do you have, if anyone has a knowledge skill they want to roll, if anyone has any ideas of something they'd like to look into, someone that may have an idea of some information that you might be after, what is your plan? I realize this situation was sort of thrown at you, so you may not have an end goal in mind, but it's time to get one, because you've told Mrs. Hahn you've completed the job. And there will have been her messages back will have included a little gentle reminder that whatever you're planning, remember that the company will want their tech back intact and not scrapped for parts.
Well, we were told when we took this mission up that they didn't need to have a body back or anything. They didn't need to have parts back.
You were told that it was a destroy mission. There was no need to save it, but it's still proprietary tech. There was no need to sort of preserve the unit, but they want to collect it.
Okay, because I missed that part about collecting because I was told that, as I remember, that they didn't need to have a body back, and that's why I was specifically trying to capture it to use it myself because there was no request to have any kind of evidence back. They just wanted it destroyed. So that
apologies if that. Yeah, apologies if that wasn't clear, but it was destroy with extreme prejudice. They didn't need you to make any efforts to kind of preserve it.
So here's what we do.
But they will still want it back.
Here's what we do. We get an arm and a leg from it. We stage a massive explosion. And then we have the arm and the leg be part of that explosion so that they still find parts, but they don't find the entire thing.
Am I to understand that you do not want to actually follow through on our commitment to our employer?
Well, the problem is that I guess I would have planned this a little bit differently if I thought we had to provide evidence back. I guess I'm a little bit. That's the problem. I thought that we didn't have. They just wanted it destroyed. That's why I wanted to capture it alive. Like that was kind of. So I guess I would have probably tried to plan this a little bit better. If that we'd have to provide some sort of evidence or pieces that it was destroyed or something. I guess I would have planned this better. And also, I mean, that's why very specific with Mrs. Hahn saying that it was neutralized because it was. I don't have any intention to lie to her, but now if they want to have stuff back,
Tough decision.
that's a problem that I wasn't really planning to prepare for. Because I don't want to lie to Mrs. Hahn, but I mean, I guess, how would I have done this then if I knew that we needed to provide something back? I think Scrag is on the right way of, an arm and a leg or something, but
We fake its death. Strip it down to the bare minimum as possible to keep it alive, and then fake its death.
I would just like to suggest that is a decision to not take very lightly. Pulling that kind of stuff with a fixer or an employer, that can get you, blacklisted from future work and all kinds of bad stuff. So
yeah, it's a big problem.
Yeah. So it's something to maybe think about carefully.
Yeah, I mean, Locke isn't the guy that's going to double cross, especially a fixer like Han, who he's worked with and has a good relationship with. But okay.
If I'm still interface, can I see how much power it has left? Like what its power levels are at?
It's around about the 60% mark, which, given what you were told about this unit, it's got a number of hours. You probably guess at least around the 8-hour mark or so.
Okay, I'm gonna just kind of keep that in mind.
Well, we also have to find out if this thing has a human brain or not, because it seems like it probably might.
So maybe we just need to try to learn more information about it, try to open it up so we can communicate with it. And, some of our friends out of character, some of our friends in chat are mentioning maybe moving something into a memory shard or trying to copy whatever it is. Scrag mentioned too if it has a brain or not. So I think maybe we need to buy ourselves some time and get some information out of it.
If we get some data shards, I can copy these files over, no problem. That's not an issue, and maybe that'll make them feel more comfortable in the fact that we're trying to tell them that we destroyed this thing. But I don't know. This is a decision we really got to think hard about.
Can we transfer the AI off of this thing into some kind of chip?
That's what I'm thinking. And they asked for the machine back. We weren't informed of any AI. So, I don't really think that's part of the scope of work. They're very limited. They said they wanted the drone back. Maybe we can just take the AI out and give it back the body. Call it good.
Can I make a cybertech roll to see if Hijack would know if moving the construct is a possibility even?
I'm not sure that you can make a cybertech roll. I'm not sure that's the best thing for it.
Okay, what would you think then, perhaps?
So take a look at your skill. You could certainly try a cybertech roll. It would just I would set a higher difficulty for that than maybe other skills. But
or like electronic security, maybe.
Let's see what you got.
I think Discord's dying.
Oh no. Don't let it do that.
Well, it's just not showing our cameras. Oh, there it goes. That's
Yeah, there
weird.
you go, Trey.
At least it's not tech issues confined to me. There doesn't seem to be anything that particularly, cyber tech is probably the closest that you have. So yeah,
I've also got electronic security, maybe like I don't. Man, that is a weird one.
I was thinking more
Education.
probably maybe science or possibly education, but I think with your levels in cybertech, you've got a better shot with that.
Yeah, I mean, it's honestly whatever you think makes the most sense for the role.
Yeah. In terms of the skills that you have, give cybertech a shot. Let's see what
okay.
comes out of it.
If you're gonna put a high DV, I'm gonna burn some more luck. I've got it, might as well use it. I'm actually gonna spend 2 points of luck.
That's what it's there for, to be used.
So that is a 23.
Wow. Nice. Okay. Given the history of things around AI, it's a touchy subject for many, given the amount of trouble it's caused in the past, and also it's a legally problematic subject. But as you're people who don't much care for the legalities of things beyond whether or not you get caught, you feel certain that you could, you have a good enough grasp of these things that if you have the right equipment, I mean, you can't put a personality into a memory chip, just a standard data chip. Again, that's not going to hold enough.
Okay.
You would probably be looking at, if it's not specialized equipment built specifically for doing this, you're looking at some form of decently sized server. There is a lot of information involved in an entire human being, and you guys have pretty much reached the conclusion that that's what you're dealing with here. So if you want to take them out of there intact, you think you could do it, but you would need a suitable receptacle. Or the other option is you could just find an access point, which is easy enough to do, and just release them onto the local net. That has its own problems because obviously then they're not constrained, and it's how much do you trust this AI?
Will they be constrained to the building, right? And anything connected to the building?
Well, if it's going into an individual server like a host for a building, then that will be where it would stay. If you're putting it onto the net in general, like onto the garden, the local Night City net, then it would be free to roam around that within the limits of what sort of equipment is available around the city.
I'm gonna ask it how well it can change its own signature or its own identity if we were to take it out of this construct or out of this drone.
It looks back at you and just says, I don't understand the question.
Yeah.
This is not what I am. This is not what I do. And then stop, jerk.
So, Panda, when we first get here and we discuss kind of what we're going to do, I'm going to take out my pager and I'm going to send a message. And I'm just going to say looks like I've found another one. Need exfil. and I'm going to send my coordinates and say trying to extract ourselves but don't have equipment, and then that's what I'm going to send.
Okay. With the way that system works, you could be looking at anywhere between sort of 20 to maybe upwards of 60 minutes for that message to reach its recipients, just because of the haphazard way of that communication.
Right.
So you're sure it will get there. You just don't know until you get a response how long that's going to take.
Right. Yeah, and that's why I just want to let you know as soon as we have decided we're going to try to do something with it, and then we'll just continue with the role play. Yeah.
And that is in progress.
Okay. Well, would my character know how easy it is just to find like a server that would is it just like running out to the store these days to get a server that's big enough for it? I have the credits, I would imagine, to pick it up, but
a net architecture is all the equipment to house one. It's not a cheap thing. I'm not gonna look around for a knowledge roll to let you know this, that it's probably above the amount of credits you have on hand, or the amount of eddies that you have on hand at the minute. But your best bet is probably if you could find a server that can just be commandeered, because you're not necessarily looking for security or you don't need high performance or anything. You just need something with the amount of storage to take this until you decide whatever your next action is. And you figure most businesses that have any sort of public-facing side, so pretty much anything that's not just a little individual workshop or something, is probably going to have a big part of starting up costs for a business nowadays is making sure they have the net architecture, so that customers can interact with them and they can store all their records, and so that everything's taken care of. So you think probably either finding a friendly business that might be able to let you do that, or if you could locate somewhere where a business used to be that hasn't been, either it's been recently shut down and the equipment is still there pending sale, or maybe it's somewhere a little older but it hasn't been scavenged yet. That's probably your best bets for getting hold of the kind of equipment you need within a few hours' notice and without large amounts of funds available. Or it would occur to you that wherever they were holding this thing and doing work on it, they definitely have the equipment you need.
Yeah, I think going into some place like that and trying to seize that equipment would just bring us attention from the people that kind of put this thing together. I think finding some kind of abandoned, recently abandoned building on maybe the edge of the combat zone or something that's still somewhat intact, but maybe not completely looted yet, would be a good shot. So I'm going to mention that to the group and say, well, we might be able to find something like this to house it, maybe at one of the businesses on the edge of the combat zone or someplace where we might be able to find a server that is still intact somewhere that hasn't been looted. I don't know if, loading it into what we have here at the storage unit is probably not going to be big enough, but I'm not sure.
And as you say this, Plague speaks up and does say, if that's what you're looking for, like a business that has recently gone under, so we'd expect the equipment to still be there. There is this this place. It was a gym. So I guess they'd have large membership numbers and a public facing site, and they weren't doing very well over in Little Europe because that was where I went. Well, I had a membership, but yeah, they closed down last week, so I'm having to look for a new gym right now. But the building's there, so I presume everything's still in there. Obviously, other people may have better suggestions, but that's just Plague's offering to the conversation.
What? I'm sorry. Can you tell me what the name of that bar was one more time? The one that was on the file.
The one the location that the drone had been tracked back to.
Yes,
Yeah.
the Netrunner bar. What was the name of that place again?
It's called the Fish Bar.
Okay. He's gonna just ask this drone. Do you remember the fish bar?
It doesn't even respond verbally at this minute. It shakes its head, and you almost get a feeling of despondence setting in from this drone. It's like there was a brief, maybe I'm going to be free, and then now things seem to be falling apart quickly.
Is that what he communicated to us?
That's just the sort of hunched look that you get from it. And the fact that it didn't verbalize, it just shook its head when you asked, did it remember the fish bar?
Shit, man, no leads.
And then it does say, if you have to put me in somewhere, please promise me I won't be there forever.
Hijack's gonna just walk away. He's not gonna even say anything.
I'll look at her and just say that you're in a tough spot. I mean, we're gonna do our best to get you out of there, but we just need time right now. Fortunately, we only have so much time before we have to produce something. But we're doing our best to make sure you're you, and I'm going to point kind of at its chest and kind of and say you're not in there when we do it.
Nods slightly, says, I understand, and I know you're doing what you can, and I am grateful.
So what do you guys think? Do you want to try to get to that gym then and get that piece out? I mean, I'm not much for well, I mean, I think I'm trying to think what our options are here, and it's these days you can't just go and buy a server like that. At least I don't have the money for it, so it's another bit of a bit, and I don't mind paying you guys out of my portion to do it. I know this is kind of way above and beyond, and I'll look over at Salvo and say, I mean, would you feel that obviously, since we weren't informed of an AI, just of a killer drone, that as long as we were returned the killer drone, that we were holding up our end of the bargain? I don't want to do anything that's going to keep you guys, or get you guys in hot water. Oh, Salva's back. Okay.
Yeah.
I don't know if you heard me on
Jack,
that.
Jack,
I
with your
missed a
cyber
couple
tech,
minutes.
I was
with
saying if
hijack,
go ahead.
sorry,
Panda.
with hijack's cyber tech role from earlier, you have a high level of confidence that if you were able to move that consciousness out into whatever other receptacle, then destroy the body, there'd be no real way. There'd be no real way other than like checking the logs, which Hijack now has access to. So can Doctor, for whatever cult this might be, to confirm whether or not the AI was inside when it was destroyed.
All right, that sounds like a plan. We can fake this AI's death essentially and figure out what he wants to do next.
Yeah, I think we can skirt a line here with it. We can still fulfill what we've been asked to do. Since we, didn't get all the information, we're providing what we were told. And obviously, we won't tell the whole story, but unless we need to. I mean, I trust Han, but she's also employed just like, we are. But I think we just have to be kind of careful.
Does anybody have any kind of EMP grenade?
I was going to have some, but then I had thought we wouldn't need them, so I had sent them away. But it might be suspicious now if I would have asked for it back. I'm kind of misunderstood exactly what we're doing here.
Yeah, I'm wondering if we could procure one another way, and then after we transfer this AI out of this thing, not only do we kind of blow it up, but we hit it with an EMP too.
Oh, just to kind of overload it?
Yeah, so after we change the log files and everything, and then we just hit it with an EMP as well, because they're going to try to log into it, and they're going to wonder where this AI went. Well,
I can probably. I got to the bottom of the architecture. I can at the very least hide the fact that this happened and get rid of the files. If we really wanted to be careful, I could maybe write some kind of virus that would just completely wipe everything. But I don't think we need to go that far.
I mean, it should be pretty simple. We transfer it out, you go in, you doctor the logs to say that we shot it until it was dead and then grabbed it and took it here.
Yeah, but when whoever gets this thing plugs back into it to look for their AI, they're gonna wonder where it went.
I can hide. I can hide
Oh,
that
that's
kind
right.
of stuff. Don't
Black's
worry
got a
about it.
microwaver. Thanks, beloved. So Black Plague has a microwave gun. And
Okay.
I'm sure we could just point it at that thing and just let it rip for a few minutes and come back. And that'll probably take care of any of that kind of stuff just as good if we can fry it all that way.
Okay. Yeah, that maybe is a good idea.
Yeah. You also reckon, Locke, with your tech skills, it's quite possible, because this thing has its own good-sized internal power source, that while it's EMP shielded from the outside, that if you were to somehow set that to overload, then as well as the physical damage that explosion would do, it would have a good chance of you could make it happen in a fashion that would produce an EMP burst, which from inside the shielding would have a good chance of just wiping everything anyway. So if you want to belt and braces it, could literally have Hijack can go in and do the cover up, and then you can try and wipe it anyway.
Yeah, I think that sounds good. I like that. So we still have this this gym that we have to to possibly get the server to get it out. Do you guys what do you guys think about that? Do you think we should head over to this gym then and get the server? Is there another place that you guys would want to try? Is there a different idea that you guys would have?
I'm good with this one.
Yeah, this sounds good. I don't know anywhere else to find a server.
Okay, it sounds like we have a plan.
We'll start driving us there.
What are we going to do with? I would probably. What do you want to do with Aeon? Kind of curious. I don't want to leave her alone, but then I also a little bit concerned. I mean, she's been under control. She hasn't been violent. I think the danger of her acting up is relatively low.
Let's find some spare clothes and just put them on it and bring it with us. Like a hoodie and some sweatpants or something.
We could leave her in the van too.
I mean, as long as we've lost the cops, I feel like just getting her in the van and getting there as quick as possibly should be all right. Like it's not like they know what they're looking for from that previous explosion. I say we're out of the woods. Who cares if we're driving around in the combat zone or on the edge of it with a drone? Wait, is this gym in the city or?
Yeah, it's in Little Europe, so it's a little bit. I mean, we do have a van that's all shot up.
Mostly just doesn't have windows.
A van that's a bit shot up is not, to be blunt, is not that uncommon in Night City.
Okay, that's good.
It means you took a wrong turn.
Yeah, there we go.
Okay.
I say we take our chances. We've got a great driver. Let's just get there and get this done.
Yeah, I'll get us up there quick. I'm not running lights or anything, but.
All right. And I'll take my tech jacket off because it's pretty big. It's like it's a big kind of a trench coat kind of jacket thing. And give it to Aeon, tell her to put it on. And you guys can see now that I take off, because I don't wear undershirt, I just have my jacket on. So I'll take off my jacket, and you guys can see that on my right shoulder, I have a light tattoo of a dragon that's coiling up my arm and then kind of comes out over my shoulder. And so you got a face of a dragon on this side, and then on the other side, on my back, there's a tiger that's kind of reaching over, and then I have like a tiger face on this side. So it's almost like two. So we got a dragon and a tiger, and they're kind of lit up. The dragon's like, the classic kind of green with kind of a little bit of red and blue kind of mixed in, and the tiger's the orange and black, and it's all illuminated.
Intimidating. Hijack's just gonna look at you. Are you with a gang or something?
Well, not so much. These are just these are back from a time in Hong Kong. Used to roll with a lot of different groups, and they were kind of my get out of jail free pass throughout the combat zones there. But they don't really serve any trouble here or any use here besides getting me in trouble with tiger claws.
All right.
Okay, cool. So I'm not going to make you go through every step of it. Salvo, if you just want to give me a stealth roll to see how because you're not racing there, to see how nonchalantly you can drive through and avoid drawing attention from cops or anybody else. Nice.
Almost a crit.
Yeah, you have no issues. You breeze through. You see a couple of patrol cars. In fact, one is like in the next lane to you at one point, but you don't even get a second look.
We're
You're
just
driving at a nice legal speed.
we're just a flower
you've
delivery
seen-
van.
Yeah, you've seen worse pieces of shit making their way around the streets of Night City. This clearly just needs a little bit of work, a little touch up. It's still running, it's still going. Yeah, you can make it to across the Little Europe, no problem. And Plague directs you to that particular street where the gym is, and you can see it's like a large retail unit on sort of a retail park type area. The entire place is shuttered up. There are other businesses around. It's mainly sort of outlet stores and a couple of not really restaurant, but sort of chain eateries where you could get semi-reliable flavored kibble in different forms.
Mm.
So the place is completely shuttered up. Are you? How do you want to approach? You've got the front, which is fronts onto a bunch of other businesses, and then there is the sort of loading bay area where you don't know whether there's going to be any security sort of rounding that back area, but at the same time, if there isn't, or if you can avoid it, there are a lot less prying eyes. So what do you want? Fewer people, or the risk of someone who might be actively taking an interest?
I mean, I think the back makes sense. Personally, given what we're doing, we're trying to haul equipment out. I don't really know if that's going to be easy to do out the front door. Not to mention getting in, security, bypassing all of that.
Yeah, I'll start pulling around to the back. I think that's probably a good idea. Unless someone's got a different idea.
I'm good with that.
Back it is. Now, strangely enough, gym is something that I pulled out of my backside, and I should have, in the 5-minute break that we had, I should have thought to look up a map, but I didn't, because hopefully this is going to be a relatively straightforward matter, so we're going to do this little theatre of the mind, no battle map for this. So you guys come around to the back, and there isn't that much space around here. I mean, it's the entire place is the car parking and loading area is designed so that trucks can make their way through, but there's not a lot in terms of parking spaces because they leave those for paying customers. Employees can sort their own shit out. But it is a fairly decent size sort of enclosed lot. And you do see the entire security that you spot immediately as you come up is one small little prefabricated hut at the entrance to at the one main gate. If anyone wants to make a perception check to check for anything additional, then feel free. Heil, it's worth checking. Are you, when we're out of combat, are you making use of your combat awareness to up your perception checks?
Nope.
Because I believe that's something you can do.
I'm keeping them for combat.
just in case.
Okay. You do know that when we roll initiative, you can reorganize them for free.
Oh, I thought you had to do it like on a. Okay.
Once the fight starts, then it's an action. But as soon as the fight begins, you can choose to either leave them where they are or reorganize for free.
Yeah, I suppose I can reorganize them then. Let me see. Let me find the page for solo abilities. Okay, so +4 to 9, 13.
Yeah. So that difference, there was a reason I asked that, just because that will take you to exactly what you needed to spot. In addition to the two sort of large box-style security cameras, there is a smaller one of the tiny like dome micro cameras, just tucked away into the top area, like the top corner of the guard's hut, which you wouldn't have necessarily noticed in passing, but it's not that well hidden. You do spot it, so whatever you might choose to do, you just need to be aware that that's there. Now you know it's there, it's not so much of a problem.
I'll point it out to everybody. There's a camera right there.
There is one guard sat inside the hut, feet up, reading what looks to be one of the latest scream sheets.
Okay.
And I can't remember the actress's name. Does everybody remember the very, very ancient Police Academy movies?
Oh yeah.
And the officer who
the blonde hair
didn't have any tone of voice between the one with the no tone of voice between a whisper and a yell.
Yeah.
I cannot remember the actress's name right now, but that's who you should be picturing. So, nice looking lady, looks like she'd be less authoritative. Looks like she's probably somebody's mom. Sat there in her little dark green corporate uniform, with her feet up, reading away.
I mean, does it look like we can get past her without her noticing us?
Yeah, and in fact, me putting my foot in it, I just realised why it was that she popped in my head. Was because Rob actually mentioned that that actress Marion just passed away. So,
yeah, I was wondering.
Yeah,
he had a bunch of stuff on his Twitter feed about it, working with her.
Yeah.
I think.
So that's clearly exactly why that popped into my head. So I hope it's not bad taste to be using her image.
No, what a great film, and she was a great character there. So.
Yeah, great character, and by all accounts, a really nice lady.
Marion Ramsey. Chat says.
So yeah, that is who appears to be, quote unquote, guarding the place.
Okay. Am I the only one who sees her, or everyone sees her?
Everyone sees her. It was just the additional security camera
Gotcha.
that you noticed, and I presume can point out to everybody. You're currently in the van. This is a drive-by. You've not had to pull up, so it's up to you what you want to do about this. The entire place is fenced around, sort of 8-foot standard steel fence, spike top, which I'm sure plenty of you are athletic enough to clear. With a server in hands, maybe not so much.
Yeah, not so much. I don't know. How do you guys want to go about this?
Well, I mean, we can. No worries. We can disable the camera if we get within how many meters of it?
Well,
I'd have to get to an access point
Cool.
that controls it, and that's 6 meters. Is the reach I can get.
Yeah, when it comes to net running, it's about where the access points are, rather than the devices themselves. I
As soon
believe
as
we
you
also
mention
have
that,
some.
I'm gonna go ahead and try this scan for an access point.
So go ahead and make that roll for me. There's also the possibility of using, I believe there's some electronic security going around in the group, and that could be a way of finding another way to bypass it without necessarily accessing the architecture there. Yeah, you have no hijack. You just you're looking around, and
I don't see one. I'd assume
you're not very
maybe
comfortable with
in
the
that,
situation.
and maybe in that hut, but I can't tell where one is specifically.
Yeah, you don't know. You're like, well, would they put it in the hut? But I don't see anything there. But would they, would they put it there, or would they put it somewhere inaccessible? Because that would make sense. So maybe it's in one of the main buildings, and you're just looking around. You can't see anything. Locke, you taking a look, you don't think it's going to be. It's a very, very simple system because this thing is attached to a prefabricated hut that's just been plonked down by the gate and cemented in place. They're literally the wiring is right there out in the open. If someone could get to that wiring, they could simply cut it, and that camera would have no feed, no power. It wouldn't be doing anything. And
Where
that,
the wires
while you
go
can't
to?
necessarily get a server
No.
over the fence, they go down into the ground.
So it's like on the side of the hut and it goes down into the ground or something.
Yeah. But that does mean that you could approach from the blind side. This camera is facing outwards towards the gate. So you could quite easily, if someone wanted to sneak up behind that, it's not the best thought out system. It's more there as a deterrent than actually a serious stopping any hardened criminals like yourselves.
Well, we can disable the camera. Scrag, are you pretty light on your feet? Are you able to?
I would say that I am pretty light on my feet. For sure.
So we could at least maybe get that camera turned off. And then I don't know if we want to try to what we're going to do about this guard. We could just try to say that we're here to pick up some equipment and try to bluff her away. We could try to maybe bribe her. We could subdue her, but that leads to more questions later. What do you guys think? I mean, she's just looking at her. I think that it's not like we're talking with some military person. She might be willing just to take a couple hundred eddies and turn her head.
We could just, get someone to seduce her and keep her busy for 30 minutes.
It's always an option. Do we have a bard?
No, I don't think so. No rocker boys.
No rocker boys.
Always an oversight.
Is it possible for us to really just kind of like sneak into that building and then like pass it up over? It's hard because I don't have a visual representation, but can we hop over the fence, sneak around the blind spot, get into the back door, take out the server, and then like hand it over the fence?
The building that you're aiming for, you're aware of that camera on the gate. That's not going to cover the building that you're trying to get into, as long as you don't go through that gate area. The two large box cameras are on, just a very slow sweep pattern, obviously automated. So it is a matter. It's so simple to work out the timing to avoid them. So your difficulties would be: do you have someone who is confident they can be quiet enough not to alert the lovely guard lady who's sat there? She's not looking in this direction. Again, she's her feet are up towards the front of her little booth thing. So if she's looking anywhere apart from at the screen sheet, then it's towards the gates. So,
Hijack will mention that he's pretty good at sneaking around.
The difficulty probably comes with then getting it over the fence. But if you've got someone with decent, because you're looking at, this is not going to be the lightest thing to lift.
Yeah, he's kind of looking at the solo, and he's like, I've got pretty decent sneaking. If you're pretty quiet too, I think the pair of us can make this work.
I think I can be reasonably quiet, but I'm not like an expert in sneaking around.
I don't like fighting if I don't have to. Let's just say that.
So they Chat had a good idea here that was mentioned that Plague was a member of the gym. And so if we need him to go pick up something that he left from his locker or something like that, we might have a way to get in that way.
That could work.
Love Chat saves our ass every fucking session.
They've had a lot of good ideas, for sure. So it's nice. I've never played an RPG having Chat here with great ideas, but it's pretty cool. And if you guys wonder if you see me playing on my cell phone, I'm not ignoring you guys. I'm engaging, talking with Chat. So
we see it's all good, and we love our little peanut gallery out there.
So we could be over and just have Black Plague picking up some gear, or we can be sneaky and send in the Nomad.
Someone give me a deduction roll, since we seem to be a bit of an impasse here. Okay. You think that of the options that have been presented, any of them could work. In terms of difficulty levels and what you've got available, if Plague goes up to the guard and asks to be let in, now, assuming that even works, either Plague gets let in and is not expected to drag the server out of the building. It's just expected to, empty a locker and leave, and the building will be watched. So it could work. It could also work if it's just a case of a distraction, not actually intending to really talk your way into the building, and instead to keep attention focused that way, to make it easier for people to jump the fence, dart in, get through whatever security there might be on the door, which you can see from here. There is a big old-fashioned padlock, so nothing major. You're not talking biometric security and explosive countermeasures. There's literally a big padlock on a bolt on the back door. So in combination, those two could work very well.
Yeah, why don't we have Black Plague go over and talk her up? He used to be a member here of the gym. You can talk about where the gym's going, if there's a new place that's opening up, what's going to happen with the space, where is he going to go work out, work on his buff form, chat her up a little bit, keep her engaged, and then Scrag, not Scrag, Salvo can sneak over if he's the sneaky. I don't know how sneaky you are, Scrag, but maybe you two can go and get the server, and I can be on the other side of the fence to help you lift it up too. I'm pretty strong. I might be able to help you lift it if we need to.
I am moderately sneaky.
You sneaky, Scrag?
Moderately, like he's not like a stealth. He's not like Solid Snake or anything, but you know, stats.
Unfortunately,
with block,
you see no large cardboard boxes anyway.
Yeah. I would say it's probably safe enough to try to sneak around with him. Yeah.
Sweet. I'll just hang out by the fence then. Wait for you guys to bring it up and help you lift it over.
All right, so we're gonna go in.
All right. So stealth roll.
All right.
Yes, please.
Oh, I am
Well,
less stealthy than I
first-
thought, but I'll be okay.
Well, your stealth is going to have an assist of some kind. I'm just picking a relevant skill. Let's see. Does Plague have con? That's best one can hope for. Conversation. There we go. Yeah, Plague is a master at this. So you guys make your stealth rolls, and difficulty is going to be minimal because Plague has walked around, taking the bag which actually contains a lot of medical equipment, just carrying it as if it's gym gear, and walks around to the garden. You can hear a loud and increasingly heated discussion about, well, what do you mean the place is closed? I come here every day. Okay, maybe not every day, but I'm a member here, and my stuff is in that building. So well, who can I ring? Who can I speak to? Well, fuck you, lady. This is no good. Customer's always right, bitch. At which point, Plague gets violently thrown to the floor.
Oh dear!
And the nice little guard lady, who Plague is probably a foot taller than, is now kneeling on the base of his spine, and holding one arm up, practically up to his other shoulder, while
did she
screaming
yell,
directly into his ear. She does. I can't do the cry justice, but she screams it right into his ear, and
Nice.
Carefully and calmly explains to him that he needs to shut the fuck up, calm the fuck down, or she's not going to do shit to help it. So this is plenty of distraction. Not that you needed it. You're pretty much stealth monkeys. So you easily get across there. Can I get someone with a lockpick check, ideally? There are other ways around it, but if someone's got lockpick to try and deal with that big old padlock.
Let me see.
Now it turns out the 3 stealthy people don't have lockpick.
I mean, I have a flat, whatever that is.
I deal with electronic locks. I can't handle this.
Well, if you've got electronic security, then there is the option of this is one of those, the big like rolling shutter type doors where there's another cutout in it for a human-sized door, and this padlock is on the human-sized door. Now, depending on the state this thing is in, you can't seem to get through at first attempt, you're not having much luck with the physical padlock that's on that bolt in the smaller door. You can either, because Plague has the guard so well tied up, You can either give it a few seconds, compose yourself, and have another go at picking that lock, or you could take a risk that hopefully these doors are nice and well maintained and try opening the electronic lock to roll up the main shutter door a couple of feet, so enough that you can get yourselves under there.
Yeah, he's just gonna go for it.
Nice.
All right, I'll let
Yeah.
you handle that.
Yeah. You see you look at this cheap sort of mass purchased security pad, and you sneeze it open. You just right. Twist, cover comes off, strip a couple of wires, cross them over, door starts rolling up, and then you pull them apart to stop it as soon as you've got space to get yourselves under there. Altercation is still going on over the other side. At this point, Plague is sort of playing up and playing the, hey, you just assaulted me, you've injured me, I'm going to claim compensation, I'm going to get you fired, lady.
Yeah.
So that's all going on over the other side of the delivery yard. I'm not going to make you hunt through the building. There's relatively little in there, since it's a gym. So most of it is open space. You're coming in like almost directly next to the office area, which is where the computer equipment is. Pick it up. Out you go. I will need another stealth check. Again, shouldn't be difficult because Plague is still playing his part admirably, whilst eating gravel.
Uh-oh.
Luck might help if you guys got it, but
He still got a 10 even with a critical failure, so you know.
Okay, so
hang on.
I see. I thought a critical failure was just like that means you automatically.
It just reduces another dice.
No, it does.
Oh, got it.
Yeah, it doesn't mean you automatically fail. That is still a 10. Now, that does put you in the realms of possibility. You're good.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, critical failure, like, if it goes below a certain level, then I might make it do something evil to you. But you are that good that it doesn't make sense to me. There's a 1 in 10 chance of you completely fucking up everything you do.
Got it.
So I look at how much you fail by. So yeah, a 10 still beats her distracted awareness check. So you're all good. And the only issue now is getting this equipment over the fence. Getting you guys over, I'm treating as trivial. It's like 8 feet and you've got teamwork and shit. So, does anybody have a body of 11 plus?
Body? No.
No.
Okay.
I do.
That's good.
Yeah.
Oh,
Because what we needed was a good combination on either side of the fence, because you need someone to pass it to. So you've got someone to receive it. What are we looking at for the guys on the inside of the fence currently? Or does anyone have athletics?
Let me see.
My athletics is pretty low. I mean, it's not low, but it's not high.
I have a little bit of athletics.
Okay.
yeah, I just have the base 2.
Right. What I will allow you to do then is one of you. I don't want you discussing numbers because that sort of takes things out of it.
Oh, shit.
So guess between yourselves who you think might have the higher and the other one can roll an athletics roll too. And basically, as long as you get a reasonable amount, you'll then assist and give a bonus to the person who's making the main athletics roll.
My money's on the solo. That's what I'm just saying.
Okay, so you want me to do athletics and then you all help?
So
Yeah.
I'm helping. Or no, wait. Sorry.
Yeah. So,
No,
so
no,
one,
Who's the bigger guys?
yeah.
Let's see the muscles. Come on, let's see let's see you guys flex.
Yeah.
Who's got the
One-
bigger muscles here?
one person helping, and one person being the main person pushing. Because although this is a heavy unit, it's not massive. It's not like you're lifting a car or something where 3 people can physically get under it. And this is going over an 8-foot fence.
No, man, you're pretty strong, right? Living out on the streets. I think this is better suited to you.
This is what you get for being meatbags without cyber legs, where you can just hop this fence, no problem.
I mean, she's distracted with him, right? Like, we could literally just, like, walk right past her and fucking knock out the camera on the way past.
You could walk past her. I mean, she's right by the gate, so there is no way to walk past her and go through that gate realistically without being seen. Well, I would want critical successes to be. You're talking into the 20s.
Don't drop our server now.
I mean, I don't care how you guys want to do this, but it doesn't look like I'm going to be able to get it over that fence just like that.
We do have a super strong cyber person that might be able to at least get it, and then I can hop the fence maybe.
Yo, what if you whistle to it and like motion, like get like whisper to it, like jump over the fence, hand it to it, and then it jumps back over the fence. Right.
Okay. Look, you're a tech.
Yeah.
You've got a toolkit, or have you just got like your
I do
multi-tool thing with you?
Oh, well, I have the multi. I mean, that's why I didn't know there was something else I needed to have. So my character would have the necessary tools of the trade because that's what he does. And I thought that was a multi-tool, but if there was something else I should have, he would have it. I just didn't know what that was, but he is a fixer and repairer of many things, and so he has the tools to do it. So I'm either slowing down
Do
or
you
Panda's
also
slowing down.
include some sort of welding torch or?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's probably me because all the tech issues are me. Some sort of welding torch or cutter, which might get through. Although this is a steel fence, you're talking low grade, thin, sort of corrugated struts. You're not talking. You're not talking 4-inch thick steel bar.
Yeah, so I'll just it's probably on my multi-tool, some sort of a heat. And what I'll do is I'll probably have this piece. It's a specialized piece of equipment called an induction welder. And I would say these days they're probably a lot more compact, and so it's a coil of metal. And so I'll kind of quickly wrap a piece of copper around it and then hook it up to my induction welder, and that basically superheats steel even today to instantly turn it to bright red and then orange and then yellow. It can heat up a piece of metal in seconds, and so I'll kind of heat up the top and then just kind of yank it, and it could easily just kind of break. I'll have to wear gloves when I do that. I use maybe a wrench or something, but it's quiet, so I'm not cutting and not making a lot of noise. It just heats it up, melts the steel, and then I'll kind of pull it back, and then
Smart.
And I bend the bars down, and so it doesn't make a lot of noise. There's not a lot of flashing lights. It's anything like that. It just heats the metal up really quick. They're actually really cool. It's called an induction furnace or induction forge.
Yeah. Well, that's. Oh dear, sorry. Just looking at chat briefly. Yep, that seems doable. I'm going to want you to make a stealth check. It's
Oh,
not going to be difficult,
boy.
but you're still doing something which could potentially cause noise.
Okay.
There may be some mall cop brutality going on.
It's okay.
Fuck. Yeah,
Luckily, it's a body
you
skill, so I mean, I don't do too bad with that. But
yeah, you've done this before. You know what you're doing. You've used this technique for getting in and out of, junkyards that might have parts that you need and whatever else it may be, evading capture. But you nail it. You identify the correct points. You just pick 2 points and essentially make yourself a door, cut out a section of the fence and lift it to the ground, and you are through. You load up the van. Now you have to retrieve Plague. Before I go and make you deal with all that, let's see if Plague can do himself a favor. And now that, because he's been able to watch you guys doing this the entire time. So let's see if Plague can talk the situation. Oh, fuck. Oh, dear. So
we're
Plague
having fun in
gets
chat.
a critical failure of 1
Like a
on
true
his
one.
attempts to his attempts to de-escalate the situation are not going well. Plague is currently getting kicked in the ribs. Actually, you didn't hear what it was because you guys were busy like loading up the van, but you get the impression that maybe he's said something designed to be sort of conciliatory, and it's been taken as patronizing, and he's not having a good time. So he's going to he will try and just make a run for it now because he's not been cuffed or anything. But in order to deliver a kicking, he has actually been released. So let's
Maybe
see.
pull the van up then, and
Plague bolts, like pushes up into a kneeling position and then sprinters start and bolts off down away from you guys. But you soon get a message. You see the guards start to pursue, but Plague gets away easily as she realizes that she needs to go back to. She can't leave her post essentially, and message from Plague saying, I'll meet you back out on the main road. Oh, and by the way, fucking ow! And there you go. I presume you go and pick him up and don't just
thanks for
leave
the
him to walk.
distraction. Yeah, we'll pick him back up. His pride is maybe bruised a little bit more than his body, but that's all right. He did good.
A successful and, well, I was going to say non-violent, but non-violent from your side encounter.
Yeah. So let's head back to the storage room then. And do I receive a message on the? I don't know how long it's been, but have I received anything back on the communicator?
You've been between getting across the city, and this has been, you're getting on for an hour now, and you've not received anything back. But between time there and time back, that's not unexpected. Salvo, give me another stealth check. This game has turned all into stealth.
When you spend luck, when do you get that back?
Next game.
I'm gonna spend 2 luck.
Okay.
So whatever I get here will add 2 to it. So 15. And I will
Yeah.
go reduce my luck.
Yeah. You have no real difficulty. It's not quite as smooth as the trip over here, but going back, you don't run into any problems. You manage to look like any old beat up, slightly shot up, slightly burnt van that might be roaming the streets of Night City without alerting anyone, arousing their suspicions. So you make it back to the storage unit that you're currently using. There is, there is power available in there, so it's not a problem to set up the server, and it's all self-contained. It's ready to go. So all I need is, well, what are you doing? Do you go ahead and try it straight away? What's the plan?
Why don't you guys try to transfer this AI, and I'll try to take us to some burnt out building in the combat zone where we can blow this thing to bits without anybody paying too much attention to us.
I like that plan.
Yeah, I think that sounds good.
Cool.
And as is there any, just because, with my interest in cyberware and all that kind of stuff, is there any pieces that I can see that, might be relevant that I would want myself? Like, is there a way I can get something, I get some gear off of this thing, basically, that's going to help me?
Definitely think if your plan is to blow this thing up, then you think you can easily get away with salvaging a number of parts from it and that not being too noticeable.
Okay. And we can figure that out offline too, Panda, if you want, so we don't take up this kind of time.
What I'm going to do, it's a really easy way of dealing with it. Okay, for the sake of argument, next time you want to make any cyberware relevant tech, either construction or improvement checks, your maker checks, or whatever you're doing with them, where you need to pay for parts, then you can ignore the next 1,100 eddies worth of parts costs.
Cool. It's nice. Make a note of that.
So, good deeds don't always go unrewarded.
Nice. It goes for any of you guys too, We can definitely help fix you up or make some stuff for you if we need it.
In the future, I might see if you can install some smart link systems into my guns, maybe.
Absolutely. We got to fix up your truck too at some point.
Yeah, that would be nice. My pals would appreciate it, getting it back in a little bit better condition.
Absolutely.
Yeah, it's probably better to hold on to it for a couple of extra days and return it in similar condition to what it was received, rather than just hand it over as is now.
Yeah, I'd have to fork over 500 Euro-bucks with it if I turned it in now.
Well, that, and it's not just that. It's the sort of, like, from an in-character perspective, it's like the loss of face and trust that you have for returning it like that. Like, obviously shit happens, but it just means that people, you don't have that rep for always making things good before handing them back.
Yeah.
So it's better to do repairs if you can first. So I gather we were doing the transfer pretty much straight away then.
Just in the back of the van
once
while
you're
driving.
at. Well, you can't do it in the van because you don't have a suitable power source in the van for something with this type of drain. You probably have power points in the van, but they're for relatively things for like they're the equivalent of USB ports for if someone wants to recharge their agent or something. Running a server, not so much. So you're probably looking at once you get back to the storage unit.
Right.
But you made it there without incident anyway. So I believe it was cyberware that we come down to was the best option for you to make this.
Yes,
I can help too.
Role would definitely be good because this is not something you probably want to mess up.
Yeah, I'm gonna go ahead.
Yeah, you might want to put some luck into it.
Yeah.
I think I'm gonna burn the rest of my luck, which is 2 more points.
It's like you got a bunch of luck.
Yeah, I got that's my highest stat. Luck goes a lot farther when you're net running because you use a lower die.
Yeah.
Oh,
Luck is useful generally.
Oh, I just remembered I'm at a -2 for everything because I'm seriously wounded.
No, you
Did
got
we patch you up though?
Yeah, you got
You patched me up, but I'm still seriously wounded.
Still seriously
shit.
wounded.
Oh,
But don't worry
I'm
about
sorry.
it.
I hope that wasn't enough to mess anything up.
Do not worry about it in the slightest. Nothing is messed up until you guys stop having fun. Like if I'm not giving you enough to do, or you're not liking what we're having to do, that's when the problem is. If a couple of dice rolls are inaccurate, I'm really not that bothered.
Okay, yeah, I apologize. I completely forgot.
Nothing to apologize for. Don't worry. So as you guys are, so you two are discussing between you what you think the best way to handle it is, and where you're, how are you going to like attach this, and how are you going to organize the data transfer, because this isn't like a plug and play machine. This is organizing the transfer of someone's entire consciousness onto a machine which has the storage but isn't necessarily set up to receive it, and you don't have a program designed to facilitate this transfer. So there's a lot of talking backwards and forth, and you notice that even if she's not sat directly next to you while you're having the discussion, Ava is watching you two going back and forth, and she doesn't really have any insight she can offer. Unfortunately, she knows nothing about this. But you get a definite feeling of gratitude that you're going to try, and she seems clearly resigned to the idea that trying means if it doesn't go well, at least she's not trapped in this body anymore. She stops existing.
And if I can assist in any way with my tech skills, let me know if there's anything I can do to help. My tools or any of that kind of stuff. I know it's all electronic stuff, but
yeah. But if you want to make some sort of applicable tech role for helping to set up the transfer, up the transfer, then that can support and contribute to the final check.
So I'm gonna.
I'd say like if you Locke maybe doing like handling the basic tech side of things.
Okay. Yeah.
Like making sure connections are all good, and like that this kind of the server's properly powered, that kind of stuff.
Yeah. So I'll take 3 points of luck. Then I'll burn 3 points of luck and roll my cyber tech. Then.
Nice.
Very nice.
Shit,
yeah. You are certain that you've done everything you can. You've double checked connections. Where you thought some of the wiring might be a little like outdated in this server. You sort of been through and picked out what are the drives that are going to have. You need a certain amount of capacity, but you've sort of picked through and gone, well, this drive's this is an older model or doesn't have the same write speed. This one's clearly been bashed about a bit, or is already full of too much junk, and even wiping it wouldn't properly defragment it. And you've assembled the physical hardware that you have to deal with as well as you possibly can. So that's going to give the final roll for making the transfer. We'll have a +4 on top of the +2, was it, for your remaining luck?
Yeah.
Yep.
And
So
then
you
you
will
just
have-
want a basic interface roll, or
yeah, you can do it on an interface roll.
okay. Wish me luck, guys.
Okay, we're good. You make the transfer. You don't see anything dramatically going wrong, and once it's done, because it takes a couple of minutes. You're talking one small data cord and a lot of information passing. But once it's complete, the shell is completely motionless, but you can see activity within the server, which shouldn't be. If the server didn't have something in there, there are no programs that should be running on it. It should be just an inert machine at this point. It should be sitting there and idling, but there are processes going on within it. You can feel the heat coming off it as it's sort of handling all these new functions, which it was never designed for, but you guys seem to have, from what you can tell, successfully managed to pass over. And it's up to you, Jack, if Hijack would want to then interface with the server and check the results. You can do.
First, before he jacks out of this bot, he's gonna go ahead and try to cloak the file from being
Very good.
noticed. And I've got a +2 because of my eraser program. So here's my cloak. That is a 12.
Yeah, you feel like you've done a decent. That's a solid cover-up job. So you're quite secure in your results there. Now, do you want to check the server, or are you taking it on trust that it's there?
Yeah, I guess he'd check the server just to be sure. He's a little curious now.
Okay. You interface with the server. There's an architecture there, but you don't need to contend with anything. You come into it and you get this weird feeling that even though you're not actively using Pathfinder at the minute, you can feel that second by second the architecture in there is growing outwards, as if it's still being built. You may or may not have built a net architecture in the past, but this one is constantly the complexity levels are almost as if the consciousness that's now inhabiting this machine is trying to make sure that however it's protected, however it can be protected, is absolutely maximized. And then you're in the corridor that is the first level, and a door opens. NCPD officer.
In our area?
And she looks at you.
And this is in virtual space, right?
Yep, this is in virtual.
An avatar. Okay.
Yep. This is within the net architecture.
Okay.
So you see the image of an NCPD officer.
Ava?
Details are
Right.
startling. And she nods slowly. You can see that she was a patrol officer of some kind, so she's uniformed, and you can see she has a badge on her chest, and you can see the name Morales on the badge on her chest.
No,
And she looks at you, and it's like she's searching for words, but now isn't inhibited from saying them like she was before. It's just she doesn't know what to say, and just looks you in your virtual eyes and says, "Thank you."
No problem. Look, I don't know how big this server is, so just be careful that you don't overheat this thing or something. I mean, I don't really know what you are or what's gonna happen from here on out, but I'm sure we'll try to at least keep you safe for now.
Well, you guys have done more for me than I would ever have expected, especially given I couldn't tell you who I was. So I trust you to do what's right.
Is there somebody that you'd want us to talk to and let them know, or like, do you have a family or something?
I don't want my family to know.
We don't have to let
I
them
mean,
know
if
what happened like this. We can just let them know something.
if things change, then maybe. But for now, I don't know what I am. I don't know what is happening. I don't know how long I'm going to be like this or if I'll be around. So they've already been through my death.
Okay. Well,
Everything all over again.
I guess that makes sense. Other than that, I don't really know how much more we can help you right now, but if we think of something, I'm sure, unless there's something you can think of.
I don't know anything about this. I don't know what they did to me in that basement. I don't know if it was even done there or if that's where I woke up and they were building that thing around me. But I get the feeling that Locke knows something or knows more about me than I do now.
Okay, well,
Like,
I'm
am I
gonna.
alive?
That's not a question I think I can really answer, but we've gotta finish some business. So I'm gonna jack out now, and I guess make yourself comfortable.
Okay, I'll wait here. Thank you again. Like, this is the most subdued image of an NCP officer you've ever spoken to. It's clearly sort of overwhelmed by the situation and not comfortable with what's going on or what state of existence they're in.
Yeah, I think Hijack would definitely start looking like really uncomfortable now. All of a sudden, I mean, as much as you can tell, he's got his mask pulled up still, but his body language is definitely like
It's
kind
just
of.
and just before you jack out, you just catch a whisper for, and I don't blame you for when you were thinking of just giving me over to them. I would have thought about doing the same.
Right. Okay.
And then you're out.
Yep. I think he would. He'd look at everybody. He'd be quiet for a second and be like, "She was fucking NCPD."
I don't think that matters at this point.
Yeah, if she was, she probably isn't now. How did you know she was NCPD?
I mean, I guess I don't know for certain, but that's just what her avatar looked like. It's hard to explain.
Did she say like what she was doing in that body, or?
No, I didn't ask. I felt like it was probably best that we deal with this robot body first, and then come back and ask the questions we have after, because there's something deeper here. I can certainly tell. And I don't know, man. I just want to get paid.
Back to the music, dude.
No. What was that, Panda?
Things got very heavy all of a sudden. What? Things got very heavy all of a sudden.
Yeah.
What do you all want to do next?
I think we got to dispose of the body. Just find a place in the combat zone that's kind of out,
Big old
in the middle of nowhere.
garage, maybe.
Shoot it up a little bit, hit it with a microwave for quite a bit. Just make sure this thing is in pieces and fried. And then we'll just shovel it all into the back of the van and head back to see our fixer, I guess.
Yeah, cool. In terms of shooting it up, you do recall this thing was pretty beefy on the armor front. Well, now you've had a good look at it as well. So you're probably best. In fact, there's no need to roll for this. Hyle, you'd notice that there's a nice-looking assault rifle that is now no longer needed by its former owner.
Oh, I assumed I already grabbed it. Yeah, I'll grab it.
Yeah. It doesn't seem to be anything massively fancy, but it's got 2 extended mags which are sort of clipped together,
Taped together ish.
clamp,
Oh, gotcha.
so that it's just for quick reloading. But yeah, 2 extended mags, one of which is entirely empty and one is completely full. And then there is the fun part, the tube underneath with the grenade launcher.
Fancy.
And there are you can go in. Yeah, you can go into the panel on the leg of the drone, whatever you want to call it, and there are a further 3 high explosive grenades in there.
Yeah, I'll snag those too. So nothing changes about the actual rifle.
But you reckon if you're going to shoot it,
Sorry?
it's just a basic assault rifle, but it has the extended magazines, so the larger ammo capacity, and it has the grenade launcher on there.
Okay.
And it does have the interface plugs for if you've got a smart gun system.
Not just yet, but maybe soon.
And if you're going to be shooting this thing up, then probably something that sort of caliber is what you need to make it look realistic. Because if you try and convince them that you took this thing down with 4,000 rounds of 9mm ammo, then that's not going to look quite as feasible.
I'll dump my entire magazine from my existing rifle into it, and just do it like 2 or 3 times.
Cool.
So it'll just be riddled with like 75 holes.
Yeah.
I like it. When in doubt, shoot it up.
Yeah, we
And
got the
then
microwave gun
locked
too. Oh, what was that?
Well, you can either microwave it, or were you looking at doing the sort of overloading its power source option? Because you can probably do one or the other. If you use the microwaver, you probably take out the circuitry, which would allow you to set up the necessary overload.
I mean, just looking at this thing, I mean, if I overload it, it's not gonna like I'm having flashes of the Terminator movie where you overload its core and it's like a mini nuke that goes off and blows up.
Yeah.
Is that what I'm looking at here? Or like,
yeah,
what,
this is not like level. You don't need to get to the chopper, but at the same time, it's probably you're looking at something. In terms of physical explosion, it's probably only in line with maybe if you took a couple of normal fragmentation grenades and set them off at the same time. It's more the fact that it will give that EMP pulse at the same time.
Okay, let's set it down somewhere. I'll rig it up and then let's make sure we get clear of the blast, so we're not standing next to this thing when the EMP thing goes off, and we'll fry it that way. Just make sure everyone's clear.
So
yeah,
give
good
me
idea.
your. Yeah. Do you want to give me
What's that?
your
Like a cyber-tech roll or something?
in order
Something
to
in tech?
set it up, or basic tech?
Yeah, I'll do
Yep,
like basic tech.
cybertech. Cybertech.
Cyber-tech? Okay.
Either cyber or basic works, because this is it is part of cybertech, but it's also sort of basic power. Yeah, no problem. You set it up. You figure it'll take about 35, 45 seconds delay on it, so plenty of time to get clear of the blast area.
Okay.
So these magazines clip together. Do they reload faster, or is it still a full action to reload?
It's just an appearance thing.
Oh, okay.
But they are extended magazines anyway.
So when I go back to pick it up, I'll just hit it with the microwave gun a couple times anyway too, just to kind of take care of whatever's left in there.
Yep.
For good measure, why not? And haul it back into the back of the van.
Everything.
And I think we should be good on that part.
Yeah, I think you're all good. And as you're doing all this, you get a reply message.
Okay.
Which says it's very brief because it's just on your pager lock. Extraction can be arranged if necessary. Courier can be there and it gives you it's in 2 days' time at 2 a.m.
Okay.
No need for further communication. It gives you coordinates of a building on the outskirts of the city. In the upper marina area, as it happens.
All right.
So it gives you coordinates of a building and just says courier will be there from 2 a.m. for up to 12 hours.
All right. And it's got like whatever exchange I need for passcode or whatever, just just a way to identify and whatever that signature would be.
It's got an access code for presumably for the building, and then it's got plus 18, which you know to be certain ciphers for responses that you're supposed to give in order to identify people that you work with. So that plus 18 just tells you that differential. Gives you the key to code that you're going to use.
All right.
And you guys head back, I presume?
Yep.
With remains of drone in tow.
At least I'm good anyway. I don't...
Mrs. Han. Mrs. Han is waiting actually out the front of the building when you arrive back. And she's got a bright smile across her face and says, I was starting to get worried about you boys. I see you've got what we were looking for. Lovely, lovely. Take it straight into the garage, and your employer's people will move it over to their van. They're already waiting.
Say, well, there's not much left. Hopefully they can get whatever they need from it. But this is all we got left.
That's fine. That's fine.
The pile of junk.
This is why they specified it didn't need to be in mint condition. Well, you saw the thing. Absolute
Yes.
monster.
Absolutely.
So you take the van into the limited amounts, but you take it into the underground parking, and there is indeed a van there. White van, completely unmarked, has plates, but the effort that this group have gone to disguise who they may be, you can probably take a bet that those plates would lead absolutely nowhere if you were to check them. There are 3 men in suits, which is not necessarily the best thing for handling a load of scrap machinery, but they open up the back of the van, and they've got various boxes in there, and unless you have any objection, then they either wait for you to open or they open the back of your van and transfer the pieces across. No objections? Good. Just give you... They all simultaneously... It's a little weird. The 3 of them, as soon as they close the doors, they all turn to you as a group and just give you the exact same identical little nod of respect. It's a little creepy the way they did that.
What do they look like again?
You can all... generic corp goons. I mean, they don't. Although that was a weird occurrence, it's not like they all looked identical or anything. They're slightly different heights. They're all, shortest is 5'10", tallest is maybe 6'2". So there is some variation between them. Two have dark hair, one's blonde, but it was just very, very iffy the way that they did that.
Yeah, just wanted to make a human perception just to see if I noticed anything. But
or would that be the wrong kind of perception? Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Give me your puppeteered AI perception. No. Go on, sorry.
Oh, yeah. Do we usually play until about 4 p.m.? Is that, or do we usually go? Well, I 4 p.m. my time. Do we usually? How long does a session usually go?
Well, this is the end.
Okay.
That we're coming to here. So if time is an issue, that's certainly something we can address if you need to be finished for a certain time.
Normally I'm okay, but right now I've got a different meeting I got to do that starts in a few minutes. So normally it's not an issue if we go a bit late, but I might have to skip out here at this point.
Yeah. Well, all we're doing here is literally the wrapping up. I don't want to just cut people off if people have anything to add. But if you need to go off now, I imagine we'll be out within 5 minutes anyway. So do not worry.
Oh, okay. Sorry about that. Normally it won't be an issue, but today it's kind of an. So, all right.
It's great having people come to play the game. So just you go have your meeting, and we will speak on the Discord and see you in the next game as well.
Cool. Thanks for running it. Good job as always. It's a lot of fun. I'll see you guys next week.
Thank you.
Take it easy, Salvo, man.
See you later.
Are these goons still here, or have they driven off?
They've driven off, and I'm going to wrap up even quicker because it just occurred to me that someone dropping out is about to mess up Rob's template as well. Does anyone have anything particular in? I'm assuming that you all go upstairs to meet Mrs. Hahn, get your pay, and so on. Or does anyone have any particular detours or anything that they want to make? Does anyone not go directly up to meet with her?
I
think that's fine. I don't really.
No. All sounds good. Okay.
So we kept the server plugged in at the warehouse. Is that where we kept it? It's not. Does it have a battery? How does it? Can we move it, or what happens if you unplug it? Any of that kind of stuff.
It does have. It does have a limited power supply. 2-hour emergency power supply if anything were to happen. But I'm presuming with your various tech bits available, that it's not a problem for you to, with some preparation time, as it's 2 days until the pickup point, to just put together a small pulse generator or a decent sized battery source. So I'm not going to make you go through the nitty gritty of that. I don't think it adds anything to the story. I can just hand wave it as your character is pretty smart and has a lot of junk hanging around.
Okay. Yeah, I would probably. I mean, if it's not right now, but I would want to get that probably in my apartment instead of just hanging at the combat zone warehouse where anybody could just come by and grab it. So
yep.
So if it was in the van when we did the exchange behind some boxes and junk or something, then I don't want to leave it just where anybody can just grab it in the combat zone.
You can absolutely do that. So
Okay.
it lives with you. You have a roommate for 2 days.
Great.
They're not the best conversationalists, and
Yeah.
they don't even do the washing up. But at least they're not
Don't
messy.
make a mess either. So exactly. Yep.
They don't steal your milk out the fridge. Congratulate you all on a job well done. On behalf of, I want to say his name was Mr. Jones. Where are my notes, damn it? I may have said something different last week. I was wrong then. I'm right now. So she thanks you and tells you that your employer was very happy with the results, very impressed that you took down such a well-armed machine and without drawing undue attention or collateral damage, and says that they may well see fit to employ you in the future, which is good news for both you and her. And with that, does anyone have anything final that they want to mention before we wrap up and close down for the night?
Nope, I'm good.
Nope.
Nothing in
Awesome.
character.
So,
Yeah.
Thank you very much. Well, on an out of character note, then, thank you very much, everyone, for all of you guys for playing, for Rob for organising this, the Cyberpunk Uncensored channel, and all of their awesome sponsors for letting us play our silly games across oceans. And thank you for everyone watching, because that's the entire point of streaming this, and hopefully you got some enjoyment out of this. No, it's not Mr. Johnson. It was very deliberately not Mr. Johnson. It was either Jones or Jackson, and I'm not certain, and I can't find it in my notes right now because I've got too many. I need to consolidate my notes. I keep writing new documents, and I've got about 6 of them open at the minute. So, yeah, thank you very much for coming. Always, I would say, like and subscribe on both Twitch, YouTube, Facebook, everything. Rob has some amazing content which goes up. There are some brilliant tutorials about the mechanics of Cyberpunk RED, which they're a great way to learn, particularly for people who may be sitting there and reading through paragraph after paragraph of text isn't the right way for you to take things in. It's really helpful to have those 5, 10, 15-minute little bite-sized things where he breaks things down, explains it all perfectly, and you know what to do going forward. I think in the next day or two, I'll be doing with him the breakdown of the media role, which is really good. Yeah, I think that's about it from me. So if everyone wants to, I know we have some of us who do other things. So again, starting with, we'll go backwards. We'll start. Heil, Scrag.
What's up?
What are you doing?
What am I doing when? No, what am I doing outside of this? Right now, I'm looking for a software engineer position. So, other than that, not much. I will do commissions, like I said last week. That if they want. Pretty much just find me Scrag Art on Instagram. As far as reaching out to me, that's a little bit trickier because I don't do social media. So just try to catch me when I'm online sometime on Discord or something.
Jack, anything you want to say, dude?
Nothing really to add. I don't got any plugs or anything, but thanks for watching, guys. It's really fun to play. Hope you guys enjoy.
Cool. Thank you for coming and for playing as always. Because without players, we wouldn't have a game. And we already lost Salvo. So, Locke, you do 97,000 things on the internet.
Yeah, thanks everybody for tuning in. I actually had a lot of fun with chat today. A lot of good feedback coming in from ideas and things. So it's always fun when you're playing a game and we can kind of shoot back and hang out. So if anyone's watching a VOD or anything, make sure to come back in when we're actually live, which is Sundays at 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And then what are the other time zones, Panda, for this?
GMT, it's 6 p.m. Sunday.
Okay.
What else have we got? I know it's
noon
10
Central.
a.m. PST.
Okay, I'll have to write
12
down all that stuff so I
CST.
have it. 12 CST, cool. Yeah. But I also do some live streaming. I do blacksmithing, beekeeping, falconry, and mead brewing on Twitch. You can find me at twitch.tv/burrowsforge. And all my social medias, Twitter and Instagram, are all at burrowsforge. And I stream on Tuesdays and Thursdays at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, Saturdays at 9:30-ish a.m. Eastern Standard Time. And that's it.
So with that, I think we are out. Thank you again for coming. Everybody stay safe. We need you to be safe as an audience so you can keep coming back and watching us. You can't do that if you're seriously ill. So look out for it. And other than that, yeah, like, subscribe to everything. Reservoir Panda. And thank you for being here with us. And we hope it keeps getting better week on week. Bye-bye.
Yep. Take care, guys.
Yeah.